All right, all right. Okay, guys, here we go. It is now a few minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock on Eastern time here on Sunday night. And as Robert Cook a lot of times says, it is the 10-10 show, but it is not the 10-10 show. We're beating 10-10 tonight, Robert. But hey, welcome to Area 51. This is the Alien Factory podcast, episode number 17, and we are here with Nathan Nicholson tonight as our special guest. But we got the regular cast of characters here in the room with us tonight as well for the podcast. First up, we have the number one team driver, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Everybody in Be Open knows who this guy is, Mr. Robert Cook. That's Robert Cook.
Well, hello, everybody. I only did 2 races this week. So
did I get all of your names in there, Robert?
Yeah, except the number one team driver. You know I don't.
Yeah,
like
the number
that.
one team driver is the important one, anyways. So
Nah.
Number one team driver, Robert Cook.
I don't think the wall of shame is going to be that interesting this week. We might have to go to next year.
Well, there wasn't a lot of people racing this week, except for one of us here in the podcast. We'll get into that here in a little bit. But yeah, Robert, good deal. And I want to keep on going down the line tonight. We got the Admiral, Tracy Rumschlag.
Drop your beer, grab your gear. The Admiral's here. Hey, thanks, Mike. Great for another week. Hey, for those watching, keeping score at home, it is my birthday today. So happy birthday to me, huh?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Tracy. You're rocking a birthday today, man. Congratulations. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah. 59 years young and still plugging, dude. So I'm ready to go. So hey, yeah, it's been a great day.
You're never gonna get too old to sit in a chair and do iRacing. Just ask Robert Cook; he'll tell you about it.
Oh yeah. You got more time sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yeah, there you go, Tracy.
But the years are going to be slower, though. I'm telling you, as you're getting closer to retirement age, it seems like it speeds up. But you wait the last 2 years, it feels like 5.
Well, what about you, Trace, this week? If Robert said he really didn't get much in this week, did you get any racing in this week?
No, I'll tell you what, the highlight of my week was our Monday night strength of field race. That was the highlight. I'll tell you what, if you didn't watch that podcast, you need to go back and watch that broadcast. That was impressive. I'm telling you what, that's got to be our race of the year right there. That finish was amazing. I'll tell you what, and I really hate to be the spoiler, but I'm going to tell you what, that is the closest finish I have ever seen in a race anywhere, period.
In real life, I've seen it happen. I was watching it back on YouTube. Sorry to interrupt you back. I think it was a 92, something. Yeah, 94, something like that probably happened.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I'm telling you, it was, you guys have to go watch that. It was last turn, last lap, going down the straight stretch, man. It was nuts.
Yeah, Parker White was leading the whole time, and Casey Kostowitz.
The entire race.
Yes, they were 1 and 2 the whole time. And like I said, I'm not going to blow the finish of it, but if you go back and watch that, I'm telling you what, you will see the best race the best finish you've probably ever seen in a lifetime. Those guys were amazing.
Best road course driving. Tell me, it was clean racing. I don't think they ever touched one time. Just unbelievable driving there in that Watkins Glen race, in the strength of field race this week on Monday night.
Yeah, the virtual Watkins Glen really put on a show that night, and we're looking forward to this week too. So we'll see what happens.
We got Daytona
coming up. Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't know if I call myself looking forward to that mess. But
that's a one and done there, boys.
A lot of strategy there. So I'll be excited. All the big names should be there, I would hope, for that strength of field race. So we'll see what all the players and the shakers and the movers got this week.
Yeah, and we've been trying as of late, as we move forward with the podcast, to bring in more drivers that y'all see during the week and the Be Open races that finish well, and Also, a lot of the guys, the names that you're hearing on the YouTube stream there in the broadcast and the strength of field races. And one of those drivers tonight we got with us is Nathan Nicholson. And I'll tell you what, he's turned into a road course specialist. But man, Nathan, you didn't have a whole lot of luck tonight or this week in that strength of field race, did you?
No, I got killed instantly.
Oh yeah, it was lap one, right? It was a
Yeah.
big mess in the S's.
Yeah, he got involved with Brandon Smith.
Yeah, I mean, we like Brandon Smith and all. He's got a YouTube channel. He's trying to get some viewers, so go check him out. But yeah, he gave it a little too much gas coming out of the S's, and I think he took out what 5 or 6 cars with him, something like that. Nathan was man, it was unfortunate you were caught up in that deal.
Yeah, it looked like a parking lot when I came out of the S's.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
It did, absolutely did.
Did now, Nathan, now you didn't finish there this week. You've had some other stuff going on this week. So how's this week been for you, and what's been going on with you this week?
I mean, after that strength of field race, ran a bunch more walk-ins. I think I'm now 11 in a row, first place.
You won 11 races this week?
Yep, every single one of them. I've won every ones that I've done except for the SOF race.
Did you qualify on the pole as well? So you let them flag to flag?
Yep, flag to flag.
Wow, that's killer, man. That's absolutely awesome. Good job there, bud.
Yeah, talk about a streak. So you're 11 for 11 other than the strength of field race. So 11 out of 12, I guess, if you count in the strength of field race. Yeah.
There's gonna be more. I'm gonna do some more probably tomorrow before I take doing my first college class. I might be trying to get to at least 15.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. You know, hey, when you're having a good week and you're on a streak, might as well take it for all you can, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Anything else going this week? Have you been racing like B Open only, or you been getting anything else this week?
That's really the only thing I've been racing, doing that. And then I've only been able to do like a couple at a time during the night because, I have like work and stuff. So
just
I get on
farming it out, huh?
Yeah. Well,
basically,
you're a busy man with working and school starting up and iRacing. You probably don't have time for much anything else.
No. Not really.
Awesome. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of catch up with everybody, see how everybody's week was going. I haven't. Hey, Trace, John Jenkins just wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, nice. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And
Thank you,
hey,
sir.
John, I just put up I put the link down in the description. This is our first video that has the custom paints and diecast down in the description. I was looking at some of the pictures on Facebook of the custom diecast deals, and I'm still thinking about ordering me a diecast of my B Open car. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, and you all want to check that out. John he plugged the custom paints and diecast guy. He plugged him after the strength of field race there a couple weeks ago, plugged him on the podcast last week. And he gave me the link there last week to the guy's Facebook site where you can place your orders if you are interested in anything like that. So this is the first video that's down in the description down there below. So go check that out. John gave that to us, so that's pretty cool stuff. Man, we went to my big thing this week, Trace, is we went to Kings Island again for a couple of days down right outside of Cincinnati, Ohio with the kids. So
how'd that go for you? That sounded like a good time. I remember when you told me about that.
Yeah, my oldest son, he pretty much got over some of his fears and a couple of the real big roller coasters. And me and him rode pretty much every roller coaster in the park. I mean,
that's cool. That's
my
fun.
little 8-year-old son, we're going like 91 mile an hour on the biggest coaster they got. Drops like 315 feet or something. It was pretty cool. We had a need for speed, so we did that. Yeah.
Now, were you there just the one day, or how long did you stay?
We did 2. We usually go for 2. We'll go down in the morning. It takes us about 3 hours to get there from where we're at. And so we get up in the morning, drive down, get there a little after the park opens, stay the whole day till the evening, and then go grab a hotel real close, and then get up the next morning and go and be there when the park opens in the morning, and then stay till right before supper time, head out, leave, and grab something to eat and head home.
Yeah, I mean, and since those kids are getting ready to go back to school, that was always fun when we were kids, when my dad would take us to go do anything, rather it be a race or whatever out of state. and then we would come back and start school. It just took our mind off of the starting of the school.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
they started school on Thursday. We went Tuesday and Wednesday, and they started school on Thursday, so that was pretty cool. So I didn't get any racing done. I'm always pretty tired after the Strength of Field broadcast. So a lot of times, unless it's a track I really like Darlington, I really don't race after the Monday night Strength of Field broadcast. So
Well, with the finish that we had this past week, I was pretty tapped too. That was exciting stuff.
Oh
there,
yeah, and by
man.
the time we got done doing interviews and stuff, the 10 o'clock race was getting ready to start, and we had some good interviews after this last broadcast, and then this I just haven't raced any this week. I haven't. My rig has not been rolled in front of my computer one time this week, so I don't have any news on my racing this week because there hasn't been any. So I just I've been tired. Sundays are never good for me to race after preaching and stuff, and Sunday mornings I just get tired on Sundays, and I take naps and wake up in time to get things ready.
Oh, it sounds like me.
Ready for the
Exactly.
broadcast and stuff. So I haven't really had much racing stuff going on. So if anybody tuned in to hear about my racing this week, I got nothing to tell you.
If you ain't sick, you're on vacation, Mikey.
Yeah, well, summertime's over now. So
Yeah, it is. Yes,
so
it is.
kids are back in school, just trying to start getting settled in, which means, and this is something I did want to talk about in the open, which means that those of you who like our on-demand content here, the how-to videos, the tech tips, the tips on iRacing and the UI, driving tips, setup tips, all that cool stuff that we put up in all of our on-demand content. Me and Tracy are getting ready to line our schedules back up with my kids being in school and going to bed earlier. Tracy getting back on his school time work schedule. We're getting ready to hook back up and start putting out some more of those on-demand videos for you guys that you've been requesting. So that's some cool news on the channel.
And on a broadcast note too, that's going to take away from my Monday night Strength of Field race. So unfortunately, I won't get to have the opportunity to do that for a while. But I had a great time with you guys this summer. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you letting me come on and do that stuff. I'm going to miss the guys, that's for sure. We do them interviews, and there's some exciting drivers, that's for sure. And I'm going to miss that part of it for sure.
Well, Tracy, let's just keep on doing it this way in this format. I tell them the good news and you tell them the bad news, right?
Yeah. Good cop, bad cop. Sorry.
Yeah. We're gaining you and me doing the on-demand content everybody loves, but they're losing you in the broadcast booth for the Monday night Strength of Field races. It's kind of a trade-off there, but
Yeah, I'll be back for cameos when we're off and stuff through the year. So look for that, but I'll be excited to come back and do it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Monday holidays. And a lot of like the faculty senate days for teachers and stuff are on Mondays and things. So there may be some Mondays we get you from here and there in the broadcast booth with us. So
yeah, and if I can get out early tomorrow, I'll race home and try to make that broadcast, but I can't promise it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I think a lot of people are excited about the on-demand content. So I'm been thinking about some subject matters and stuff. And any of you all that are listening, any of our viewers, if you're not listening right now and you're watching this on replay later, just shoot us a comment if there's a topic you'd like us to cover. I know that I had several comments about people wanting us to try to do something with late models on the dirt side, which Tracy and I aren't necessarily experts in at all. We're reaching out to a few people we know, trying to get somebody to come, kind of give us a garage walkthrough on those for y'all. But anybody else that has any suggestions, anything you would like us to cover in our on-demand series that we have. I have a setup shop review series I'm going to pick back up here when school starts. And we have a lot of how-to setup videos, driving videos, tech tips, all kind of cool stuff. You guys got an idea for some on-demand content, just shoot us a message in the comments, or shoot me and Tracy a message, one of the two of us a message directly. And we'll take a look at any suggestions y'all have. And because that's why we're doing the channel. We're doing the channel here for you, the community. So you guys, we appreciate your feedback. Trace, that's pretty much all I got here for our intros and kind of the shakedown here of our week and catching up with everybody. Let's turn our attention now to our guest for the podcast, our special guest tonight, Nathan Nicholson, and we're going to go ahead and start the second segment of our podcast, which is our first segment focused on him. And Trace, I'll turn things over to you.
Well, I'd like to introduce Nathan Nicholson. Nathan, thank you so much for coming. This segment here, we like to call the face that runs the place, but that's for our setup people that comes in for the setup shops. But we are going to do the same format with you.
We'll call him the face behind the wheel.
Yeah, that's fine. anyways, so what we're gonna do is we want kind of like a biography, about you personally. Okay, tell people what you would like them to know about you. Okay, we know you from Monday night. Other than that, we know you're 25 years old from Georgia, and you're also part of EPI, Elite Performance Industries, and we'd like to know a little bit about it.
Yeah, so start from the beginning, man. Like start from the beginning. Were you interested in racing early on, and kind of that stuff? Kind of start from the beginning of your life as far as racing is concerned and your interest there.
Day one,
Well,
the big move. Just
well,
kidding.
I remember. Let's see. I think I was 2 years old, and I used to. My
Well, that's going
grandfather.
back some. That's going back
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
Going
Hold
back,
up.
man, this is-
You can still remember when you were 2 years old. Dude?
Yeah, definitely, man. I can
Jeez.
remember. I can remember the exact same day they got me into racing. I used to sit with my grandfather. We do it every Sunday. We'd sit and watch the NASCAR race, and I was a big Junior fan back then. My grandfather hated it. He's a Mark Martin fan. He hated that I liked Junior. He wanted me to be a Mark Martin fan. So we used to do that every Sunday. We'd watch that, and then I started picking up interests into just like cars and everything. Like I wasn't one of those kids who grew up with Star Wars. I grew up with Fast and Furious. So I grew up with all that. So then I started getting into like IndyCar, Formula One, stuff like that. I follow that pretty heavily. The thing I do follow, you don't really see it much. I don't know if y'all have heard of it. It's called Formula Drift. I've actually been to one of those events up at Road Atlanta. I live like 30 minutes from there. Awesome place. If that's a track, that is a track to go to. That
Well,
track
tell us a little bit about it, because for we don't know, our viewers might not know. Give us some highlights.
So
what makes it good?
So Formula Drift is basically how it judges off. It judges off line, style, and angle. You have two people. They do what they call a lead run, and then they re-rack, and then the lead car will do what they call a chase run. So what you're supposed to do on your lead run is you run the best line possible. You don't do any errors. You hit things they call clipping zones. So they put little markers where you have to have your car basically touch those throughout the whole thing. That gets judged off your lead run. Chase car, he's supposed to follow the person and stay right up next to him, like tandem drifting kind of, where you're like touching doors with a tire. And that's how whoever has the best line and the best style throughout the run, they move on to the next round. And eventually it's just like a knockout competition, and whoever wins the final battle, they win that podium for that.
You say you've actually went to this?
Yeah, I went to it in 2019. Went to it in May. It was they do two events. They have a like an amateur type. It's called Pro 2, and then they have their like big boys, like how the Cups got Xfinity and stuff like that. They call them the pro drivers. That's where all the big boys go.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a fun time. It's like being at a party. It's like a whole group of people. Everybody's having a good time. It's just wild.
Now, have you drove it, or is it something you wanted to do?
I'm not 100% sure, because it does cost a lot of money. I think I was talking to one of the drivers I ran into there. They said it was like $2.5 million to build one of their drift cars.
I was watching somebody on YouTube. She's from California. I can't remember her name, and I used to watch her quite a bit. She started out with drifting, and then she bought a Corvette, doing dragsters now and stuff.
Yeah, and some people do it. Some people, and then they just switch. There's a bunch of people that I've known that there was one guy, I don't know if y'all have heard of his name, Tanner Faust.
Yes.
He did Formula Drift, and he was the only guy to have a 4-door sedan that he did. It was a Volkswagen, and he also did a rallycross and stuff too. So he had kind of a understanding of how to sling a car around and everything like that, since he did rallycross and stuff like that. But it's pretty cool, the type of people that are in that event.
Now, Tanner, he hung out with Travis Pastrana, didn't he? Those guys all do that. They did stunts and stuff together, if I remember right.
Yeah, Travis did. Yeah, he did. I think he does that. He hosts that. What is it? Nitro Rallycross now, which is pretty cool. That's also fun to watch. If you haven't sat down and watched that, it gets pretty entertaining.
Okay.
I think Tanner does some of the. I can't think of what class he runs, because they now have an electric rallycross car that they run in that, which I find really weird, because you're so used to having cars having sound.
All four wheels or just two?
It's 4. It's all-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's interesting too. And I was I was watching a documentary on electric cars. It's been probably 3 or 4 years ago now, and they were talking about like why there's not very many electric sports cars out there. Like why is there not like an electric version of like the Camaro or the Mustang or the Corvette or like whatever? And these guys were talking about it, and they said, well, a lot of it's sound. And the people in the documentary, like what? Because they're talking about how superior a lot of the torque was that comes out of the electric motors, and how you can go, it's easier. You can go 0 to 60 quicker, and there's a lot more torque, and you can get some pretty decent speed out of it. Now, the gearing on the electric cars is different. It's all one. It's kind of like a direct drive type, single gear type deal. So getting it to super high speeds was a little harder than a traditional combustion engine with a gearbox and everything in it. That was one issue, but the other issue they said was the sound, and people were like, what are you talking about? Like, well, they go, well, when somebody buys a sports car, they want to hear that sound and stuff. Like they want to hear the motor rev and things like that.
They had that now in the cars. They have it sound like on that.
Well, did you see that concept that Dodge made, like their electric EV charger, where it has like artificial engine sounds and stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. So what they were doing is now they're starting to roll off the assembly line. But this is a documentary, like I said, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when they were starting to think about and conceptualize them and build them. And that was one thing they were adding. They were having to add artificial sound systems to these electric sports cars to make them sound like a traditional motor, and it was all artificial and fake. It wasn't
that sounds like the COVID games when they had no crowd. They were pumping that crowd music through the speakers and stuff. Like,
well, they're going to come out stuff next year, aren't they? Next year, planning next year, they're going to have NASCAR with electric cars.
I heard a rumor about that.
I don't think they're ditching the next gen yet, are they?
I think so. I don't. No, but they're going to have a different group, but it's going to be electric cars.
We need a
it's going
to
be a different series. I got you.
That's what we need. We need an SUV series. I want to see Dodge Durangos and Chevy Trailblazers out there.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll be interesting.
So 2 years old, you started watching NASCAR with your grandpa, and you were a big Dale Jr. fan. You talked about the local stuff there with the drifting at the Road Atlanta. So keep us on the journey, man. So where did the journey take you from there?
I just kept getting so invested into it. I think I remember Formula One, how like they have those races. It'd be like 3 a.m. in the morning. I remember as a kid, even though I had school nights, man, I'd stay up and I'd watch them. I didn't care if I had school the next day. I just wanted, something to watch. But yeah, we watched it. I never, when he was alive, rest of my grandfather's soul, we always talked about wanting to go to a racetrack, but we never got to do it. I finally actually, you'll laugh at this. I went to my first NASCAR race. First ever time I've been to one was this year. I went to the Coke 600. And that was
that's a good one to
race.
go.
Oh yeah, wow, that's a marathon of a race right there.
That was the longest race, but it was cool. Like it was hot during the day because we got to the track, I think at 11 a.m. We watched the Indy 500 with somebody's TV hooked up in the back of their car, so we sat and watched that too. But man, that was a long race. Thing never ended. I think we didn't get out of it at 2 a.m. That's how long that race was.
What do you think of Charlotte? That place is laid out.
Yeah, I drove Charlotte on iRace, and I'm like, look, this track's not big. I go walk straight in the grandstands, and I'm just like, this track is giant. Like, it's really big in person. I'm like, holy cow.
Well, that's one thing about iRacing I noticed too, is a lot of the tracks that I've been to, and you drive them in iRacing. Now, maybe they're supposed to be accurate, but I don't get that same sense of feel.
They look smaller, Tracy, and they look more narrow too, especially on the road courses. They look more narrow.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. But anyhow, that's my experience.
Yeah, we did the pre-race stuff there, and I walked on the front stretch, and I was like, I didn't even know the front stretch had banking to it at that track. I thought it was just flat. And I was like, this thing has banking to it? And just sitting there looking at it. But yeah, that's really all like what got me like into like, racing and stuff like that, and just the whole automotive scene,
it sounds like you're into anything with an engine, man. Like and on a track, like you're like a lot of people are just like NASCAR fans only, but it sounds like you're in a NASCAR, drifting, road racing, pretty much anything that's any car that's got an engine in it that you're trying to do something with and compete with.
Yeah, my favorite all time is rally. Those guys are some of the biggest daredevils I've seen. You're throwing you going really fast through the woods. You can hit a tree at any moment. I give props to those guys. That is probably the crazy. That is like my favorite thing.
Now, do you run the rally stuff in iRacing? Do you ever try that?
Occasionally when it gets participation. I know like the whole dirt road side, I wish you got more participation because I like the Pro 4 trucks. I like the trophy trucks.
Yeah, I like
really
the Pro 4, the D class. Yeah,
Well,
that's good stuff. Yeah,
there's another series that has that road off road. What's one of the big names that I can't remember it, but there's some good ones out there that has road racing, not road racing, but rally cars.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, Nathan, I'm with you on the participation. Like the rookies always kicks off. So like in the rookie class and in the rally cross and the off-road trucks, like they always go official. And then but once you move past the rookies and you get up to like the D and C class, like the D class 4x4 trucks, they don't go official very often. Maybe half the races each day go official. But some of them do, and I like the D class 4x4s. And then I really didn't like the Pro 2 C class trucks. They were just slower, and I just didn't like them as much. And they never went official ever. I mean, you'd be lucky for 1 or 2 races in a 24-hour period to go official on those. But then they mixed it, and they have a multi-class race now. Now the C class is the Pro 2s and the 4x4s from the D class are all on the same track now. And those still don't go official very often, but they go official more than the Pro 2s did by themselves. So yeah, I'm with you. Like the rally cross though, is there I think there's a D class rally cross as well, and they go official a lot more than the trucks do. And then the C class rally cross, same problem. They don't run as often. They don't run very often at all. When they do, it's tough to get an official race. So like that stuff would be a lot more fun if there was a lot more participation in it.
Yeah, I wish they had more dirt road tracks. Like there's not that many dirt road tracks. I wish
there's not, but they've been adding some more lately, like Brands Hatch and a couple of them. There used to only be like well, you're right. The 4x4s, the trucks, there's like 4 or 5 different tracks, and then there's like different configurations of each track, like a couple different configurations. But the rally cross, they've been adding some tracks to that for the cars.
Yeah, I think I actually raced that Brands Hatch track. That track's really fun.
It's not flowy. Super new, but it's maybe in the last year I think they've added it. But yeah, they've added a couple others. Oh shoot. I can't. There's several for the cars. There's like the Lucas Oil, there's the Phoenix, there's Charlotte, there's Daytona, there's
Barcelona has one.
Yep, Barcelona, and then there's the Brands Hatch, like we had just talked about, and
I think there's a rally cross track at Knock Hill.
I think there is, yeah, and they just added it, yeah, when they added the road course, yeah. So they've been trying to add some more for the rally cross. I think it's the higher participation series, series out of the dirt road. But yeah, the trucks need some love. Yeah. the trucks need some more participation, and they need some more tracks.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, man. So that's pretty much, that's kind of rounds up the early days and like how you got your love of racing. But what about iRacing? Like or any kind of racing, like sim racing? How did you start sim racing or sim anything?
Well, I originally bought a steering wheel and pedals because I played like American Truck Sim, and I used to hang out with a bunch of guys, and we did the little Truckers MP mod, if you know what that is, where you go in there and you can drive around with your friends. Yeah, there's like a whole like a online mod where you can go in there and cruise with your friends, do convoys. We'd have like 40 of us in a line going down the highway. Just convoys.
There you go, Trace. We need to start doing truck convoys.
Well, it's funny. You were talking about Dustin Hall with Elite, and I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit. He and I used to be on the same team a while ago, and the owner of that team there used to do that American trucking stuff. And he used to tell us, I don't know if Dustin did it. You might want to ask him next time you see him. But that was a big thing like 5 years ago. But I don't know when it came out. But I remember that's all they used to talk about. Yeah, I'm hauling a load from here and there and everywhere. And I mean, it just time's going by and you don't hear nothing. There's no excitement, you know. Oh yeah, I just got to my destination. I'm just dropping the load, and it's like, holy cow! And then I got to see the simulator, and that thing is laid out, dude. I couldn't believe it. There's guys that have like full wheels and stuff, like truck wheels that do this stuff. I'm thinking that's insane.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine. He home built a whole entire like Peterbilt dash.
Wait till they come up with the lot lizard, and it'd probably be more interesting.
Is that Big Boob Betty? Is she part of that?
I think she used to be, but
okay.
Well, Nathan, you're a first for us here on the podcast. A lot of people that got into sim racing, they'll say like we've heard a few things. Like some people said, yeah, I love racing so much, and I saw the iRacing stuff on TV or whatever, and thought I'd give it a try, and it was their first sim racing experience. And you have other folks like me and Tracy and Robert and who knows who that have done sim racing on gaming consoles from back in the 90s. And we did the Papyrus NASCAR 2000 and 2003. And then I was doing like Forza on Xbox and like, all this stuff. And then they'll say, and then we got into iRacing, is kind of finishes it off. And then, like I said, then you have the people who their first venture into sim racing is iRacing itself, just so they love racing and saw it on TV. But you're the first person that comes to us from trucking simulating.
Yeah. Well, I used to play like Forza. I love Forza. I like the motorsport games more to do the Horizon games. I mean, I know the Horizon games are fun to get free run around, but I also like playing the motorsport games too. Like I play those every day.
Oh yeah, that's how I got back into sim racing. Because I probably took 7 or 8 years off, and didn't sim race anything. And the Forza Motorsport 5, I think, was me getting back into sim racing. Yeah. The cool thing about Forza that I thought was really cool compared to some of the other sims on consoles is that with Forza they if you have friends that have the game too, like it records some of their lap times on the same track you're on, and then it puts their name on a car, and it's supposed to be their driving tendencies and their lap times that they really ran. So like you can actually, it's not that you're racing against your friends in real time, but it is kind of cool because it does kind of put your friends on the track with you. And so that's one of the things that really got me into Forza on the Xbox One, was that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I used to have friends get mad at my Drivatar because it always beat them.
Yeah. And I usually beat my friends. I mean, I was out of my friends list, I think I was probably had the fastest times, but they were probably playing with the controller. I'd got me a force feedback wheel at that point just for Forza. It was a cheap one, as a Thrustmaster, like a real cheap, like $150 Thrustmaster deal. But yeah, so that made my times, I was always faster than them too. And they were always like, oh, come on, dude, you're cheating with your wheel. And I'm like, go get you one. I'm like, stop using the controller. Dude, I'll tell you too, like, so you didn't have, when you started doing the trucking simulator, well, first of all, let's talk about your equipment. What equipment do you have?
So I have 3 27-inch LG, I can't remember the exact model.
The monitors. Yeah.
They're flat screens. They're not curved. I got a triple monitor stand. I'm sitting in a track racer rig, which is about to get tossed in the trash because I'm about to buy a aluminum profile rig.
Nice. Yeah. Trace and I both have an 80/20 rig, don't we? Do you have an 80/20, Trace?
Yeah.
I have. I love it.
It's Sim Labs from overseas, and they put a nice package together. And I believe John Jenkins and I were talking about that last week. I think he had something similar to SimLab like I had, if I remember right. But yeah, it's all pieced together, because once I got a direct drive wheel, there was nothing I could do. I had to have it without ripping my desk in half, So so I picked it up, and it's a work in progress, but that's what we like.
Yeah, I got an 80/20 there, Nathan, and I put caster wheels in the bottom of mine so I can wheel it in underneath my desk and then wheel it out when I'm done, because I use this desk for work and for play and work and sim racing and podcasting and pretty much everything. So I had to have a rig that was mobile, and I've kind of always had one. I even started with a wheel stand, just slid the wheel stand underneath when I first started, And yeah, so the 80/20 worked out great with the caster wheels and stuff on it. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. So and Robert has one of the big, he just got a new rig. He got one of the new big 2.5-inch circular.
That's what he's got. He's got that track racer or whatever.
Oh, you got the
tracker.
same thing. You have the same thing he has, Robert.
Yeah.
The big round tubular rig.
Right.
The track racer. Yeah. So that's cool.
Now, John said he's got a P1X, so I believe it's SimLab P1X is what he has. So
Well, I
Yeah,
have
that's what
the 8. What do you call it? Track racer 8 or whatever. Something. 8.
TR8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
So-
the one below that. So
All right. So you got that. So that's your rig and your monitor setup. But what about like wheel pedals, wheelbase? All that
So
stuff.
I have the Fanatec shifter that I use, and then I
Alright.
have the V3 pedals that are just stock. It has no brake performance kit, no dampeners, anything. I just set the pedal super stiff to where I wanted it. I had Fanatec wheelbases. To be honest with you, they're not all what they say they are. So I went with a Sim Magic Alpha Mini. It's fairly newer company. They
Yeah, I've
started
never heard
getting
of it. You said something about it in pre-production earlier.
Yeah, it's been around for I think a couple years. I picked this up from a guy. He runs. I don't know if you've. His company's called US Sim Motion. He's got everything on there from all sorts of manufacturers. But I picked this up back in March. I had to buy the brackets on the side of it, but this wheel it's only got 10 Newton meters. You don't really need anything more. Even 100% force, it hurts my wrist, so I had to turn it down to 75. It's 'cause my
Really?
wrist started to hurt. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So,
started to hurt real bad.
well, that's interesting. So when you said mini, Sim Magic Mini, I was going to ask you how powerful it was because is it smaller in size as well?
So it's very small. It's actually like smaller than my keyboard. But
Really?
it's not that big. And then their normal alpha is 15 Newton meters, and then they get what they call an alpha ultimate, which is 25 Newton meters.
Can't you buy a bigger power pack for that too? Or they use
No, this is just it's all pre-programmed inside the base.
So 10, yeah. So Trace has the Sim Experience wheel and it does 13 Newton meters max. And I've got the DD1 from Fanatic and it'll do 20 peak, 15 sustained. And Tracy's is 13 sustained. I can't remember what the peak on that is, like 15 or 16 Newton meters. Anyway, but I have to turn mine down. Like I can't do 20 or 15 sustained and 20 peak. I turn mine down to I do 60%, which is 12 Newton meters. So I'll run 12. So and you're right. I'm doing some road racing sometimes and I'll have my little F1 wheel on it. And dude, literally I banged up my knuckles from the shifters or something when it jerks out of my hand or whatever.
now, according to Brandon Burkhart, friend of the channel, he said if it's anything less than 100%, you're not there. You're not a manly man.
But what he doesn't tell you is he sets his at 100%. He did tell us he sets his at 100%, and then he goes into iRacing and adjusts the strength there.
Well, that's what I do. We do that. That's what I do.
Yeah, and so I could do that too. I could set it at 100% and then go into iRacing and make it weaker. I mean, but I set mine at 12 Newton meters and then go into iRacing and adjust it there. But anyway, yeah, so I'm with you, man. I think 10 Newton meters is enough.
Yeah, I have it set to 75%, and then in iRacing, you'll actually find it's funny. I have to actually shrink weaker. I barely run force feedback. I like to have the wheel where I'm able to flick it around. Because with it bumping around
you have one of the wheels that has a flat bottom there, don't you? Because I saw you turn it. There, it looks like it had a flat bottom.
Got a D shape. I have I don't know where. I think it's behind me. I bought aftermarket steering wheel. I just got to buy a quick release for it and bolt it right up to it. But it's a full circular round. It's all red.
Nice.
Just gotta buy
what's the diameter on that wheel?
I can actually tell you. Hold up. It says it on the back here. It is a 330 millimeter.
330.
So it's a 13-inch wheel.
Yeah, 330. Yeah, and that's exactly what I have. I have mine's the leather Fanatic 330 centimeter round wheel. It's not D shape, but it's round. Yeah, anything like when you get like 33 centimeters, 32 centimeters, that's pretty decent. I mean, a full size NASCAR wheel is what, 14 and a half, something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about buying a big 15-inch oval wheel as soon as
15. Okay, they're 15.
Yeah, thinking about being the big 15 because when I'm racing like a bigger track like Michigan, I struggle with the small wheel because it's not as lazy as
I think that's what
turning
John
as.
has. I think John has a big wheel.
He's got a 14-inch wheel.
Yeah, my only problem with the big 15-inch like real not life NASCAR wheels is they're all deep dish and it's hard reaching your buttons if you got a button boxes and not a button box to the side, you know, the button box like you got there, like the ones that are on the wheel, the button pods and stuff that are on the wheel. They're hard to reach, and the shifters are hard to reach on one of those big wheels if you use paddle shifters. So anyway, well, that's cool, man. You now if you're using 10 Newton meters and 75%, that's 7.5 Newton meters. That means Robert's Club Sport V2.5 and 100% is 0.5 Newton meters stronger than what you're running, Robert. So you know that old Robert's how dude, you're 25 and you got Robert, an old man running 0.5 Newton meters more torque than you. But no, the V3 pedals are good. I got this, and I'm doing the same thing you're doing out of the box. You know, no changes, no dampening kit, no brake kit, nothing. Just a straight V3s, and I like them too. So that sounds like a pretty good setup. Did you start with something different, or did you already always have that set?
Yeah, I started with a single 32-inch curved monitor with a T150 Pro, with just a standard.
The T150, yeah, that's what I started with, was a TMX, the Xbox version, but same thing, yeah.
I started out with a cat.
Now I'll tell you something Tracy's done on his monitor is he's got that big boy Samsung G9 Odyssey monitor, the big huge
49-inch guy.
Yeah, 49-inch super ultra wide.
Right.
And he likes that thing.
I can see a lot now too.
Get two more. Get two more.
Yeah, right. Triples.
So you get into iRacing from Truck Simulator. You got some decent equipment, and
what did you lose a bet, or what was the interest there?
I had a buddy that I did Truck Sim with, and he's like, "Hey man, check this out." And I was like, "All right, what is this?" And he's like, "This iRacing. Check it out." And I checked it out, and I was like, "That's pretty neat. Maybe I can get into it." And then I just got addicted to it. I kept spending money. Now I've spent so much money that if I pull out, I feel like I just wasted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, isn't that about all of our stories?
Yeah.
We get addicted
like
and they empty our pocketbooks.
Yeah, I own almost every track. So I have every dirt oval, every road course, every oval track, every dirt road track, because I like to dabble in everything.
Yeah, and when you first sign up and you start buying content, they'll say, well, if you buy 3 pieces at a time, you get 10% off. And I did that for a while. And then it was like, once you get once you buy so many pieces, like 40, you're in the permanent 20% off club. And I was thinking, well, whatever. But there was this option when I first started buying, and it was like the own everything option, and they gave you a pretty significant discount, like 30 or 40%, but it was over $1,000. And I was like, and I thought back then, I was like, why would somebody do that for a video game? It's like, that was like, this is the most expensive video game I've ever seen in my entire life. And I didn't do it. But honest to goodness, I got into the 40 piece, 20% off club within the first year. And so, because I was buying up everything here and there.
Yeah, that was me after 3 months. I'd buy it because I get paid every week. I'd buy a car and track. I did that every week.
Oh, that's what I was doing. I was buying like a car and a track or something. I was spending every time I checked out, which was like almost every week or two, I was buying like 3 at a time to get that 10% discount. And but after I got the 20% off club, I thought, you know what? I probably would have saved money by just going ahead and buy with the discount and the money I've spent up to date. I probably would have owned it. I don't own everything yet because I haven't bought it all. But I would say that if you'd added the dollars I've spent, that it would be equal to going ahead and starting out buying everything, right? Because it's such a big discount. It's like a 40% discount or something if you buy it all up front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Trace, how far are you? Have you got to the point where you own about everything yet?
Yeah, I kind of gave up on some of the specialty stuff that I never drive. You were talking about Catalunya. I forgot I owned it. I hadn't been on it that long. It's like, and I'll tell you what, Coda, I'd love to give that thing back to. I'm not a Coda fan.
Oh, Coda's horrible. I hate that
No,
place.
no. Coda's the best track. No.
Oh,
I won't
stop
disagree.
it.
No,
Oh, my
man.
goodness.
Coda's where it's at.
Well, he's a road race guy.
Coda's where it's
Dude,
at, man.
Coda. Oh.
Coda's where it's at. The one thing I do regret buying was that stupid Delara IRO1. I regret buying that car.
That's the iRacing version of an IndyCar or whatever.
Yeah, I regret buying that thing. Nobody runs it.
Well,
Yeah,
I've got what's that that Brazil stock car or whatever they just
That
came
was a
out
big
with.
flop. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I own that thing and it's sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah, big flop.
So,
So you get into iRacing, man, and that's the thing. It's just like any addiction. They get you addicted to something, and they take all your money. So I think we can all, instead of dealing drugs, they're out there dealing people's racing addiction. They get you hooked. They get you hooked, and they find a way to drain your wallet.
hey, this is a little off topic, and Nathan, I apologize about taking your time here, but I figured I didn't want to forget this. Did you see that iRacing just had a big promotion, 75% off for new people again?
Yeah, no. What's up with this not helping existing people?
Exactly. That's
got
been
you
the number
hooked
one
already.
gripe. That's the number one gripe on iRacing, and they used to support it. And you could have 50% off at Black Friday or whatever, and renew your subscription for years and years and years. And then everything, they just did away with it. Either if you're a new subscriber, you're like gold, but the guys have been around forever. It's like, come on, throw us a bone here,
Well, there's only one day a year, if you've been around forever, that you can still get a discount. It's on Black Friday only, and it's like, it may be a couple days stretch.
It's not 75%. I can tell you that.
It's 40. It's 40% off. That's all they'll do for you now.
Yeah, that's sad.
Well, it's because they got you hooked already, Trace. They got your money. They got you hooked. Why would they give you a deal?
Exactly.
They gave you the candy already. What else do you want?
No, I bought it. Just ask Nathan. He bought it too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is their models like the cable company model. Like, cable companies are like dinosaurs. Are going out of business as far as cable TV subscriptions. People are cord cutting and streaming and everything. But that's their model, man. If you'll get a promotional deal in the mail, if you switch cable companies or whatever, you'll get, you get like 50% off and like or dirt cheap cable for like 6 months or a year, and then they jack it up to like 200. You'll go from paying $70 a month to like 200, and then if you're an existing customer, you got to threaten to leave or quit or something in order to try to get any kind of a deal, because once they got you, they got you.
Right.
There's no deals to be had there. They're like cable TV is like the only business model in the world that you get the crappiest deal, the more loyal you are. The longer you stay with them and the more loyal you are, the crappier deal you get. Well, somebody from iRacing must have been studying the cable TV model, because that's the same deal they have for us. The longer you're with them and the more loyal you are, the crappier price they give you.
Yeah.
As far as your subscription anyway.
Hey, Nathan, I got one last question for you since we're almost at the top of the hour. I see your shirt there, Daniel Suarez. Is that who that is?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Suarez.
Are you a fan?
He came in fit, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. I can't remember off the top of my head.
So did you go to the 600 this year then?
Yeah, I went to it this year, and I watched him. I watched him make a stupid mistake and wreck himself. Trust me.
Okay.
I threw my hat on the ground when that happened.
So from here on out, what are you planning to go see from here on out? What track or whatever? What race?
Well, a bunch of my buddies that I went to Coke 600, they want to go again next year, so I think I'll go to that again next year. And then I want to try to take my uncle to the Southern 500, but I don't know if I'm going to have free time to do that because he loves Darlington.
Now, how far are you from Atlanta? Time wise, not mileage wise.
My time wise, I think like 40 minutes.
Okay, so you're not even an hour out of it.
Are they still working on the interstate over there?
I don't know. I haven't been actually headed towards Atlanta in maybe like a year. I try not to go that far.
Nathan, can you give Robert a traffic report? I'm sure he's interested.
Well,
there's traffic everywhere. People don't know how to drive here in Georgia, so prepared to use the middle finger out the window a lot.
Oh,
I do it
okay.
every day.
When I was in the Navy, I lived in Norfolk area, and I drove back and
Is
forth.
that in Georgia?
Yeah, and I drove back and forth from home to Arkansas there, and for 4 years they were still working on the interstate. And I thought, well, did they ever finish it?
That's a full-time job. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
dude. Well, like with I've been to Atlanta several times. Whenever my job used to have when the government used to give us money. I mean, the government just prints money, but when they used to give us money for training, a lot of our training classes used to be down in Atlanta, Georgia, and me and my buddies would go down there for a week, and do training and stuff. And it was nuts down there, driving, like everything down there was nuts. I thought.
Well, getting back to my point of Atlanta, have you ever considered Talladega?
Yeah, I want to go to Talladega. I think that track's like 2 hours for me where I live.
Yeah, it's not that far, because when we used to come from, I live in Ohio, so we would come down and then we'd go Atlanta and then catch over to Talladega. But I'm going to tell you what, that's a great little track down there. And we used to go to like Talladega and then come back to Charlotte. But I've always wanted to go to the Atlanta track, never got to. But there's all kinds of racing and stuff down there to do. You guys are lucky. We got nothing up here. I mean, little dirt tracks and stuff, which is cool. But you guys race way longer in the season than we ever do. Man, I'd be living at the track all year
I
round.
feel
I feel like I'm in like the central hub of like all the southern tracks. Like I'm not that far from each one.
You got big parties going on outside of
Well,
Talladega.
you're in the central hub there of the deep southern tracks, but then there's a whole bunch of tracks up in the Carolinas that you're a little bit farther away from. When I go down to vacation at Myrtle Beach, man, I pass all those coming in, Rockingham and Darlington and like
I wish you go
all
back
those
there.
towns and stuff. But yeah, but in a lot of the sad thing is a lot of those Carolina tracks aren't on the circuit anymore. Like they don't have them.
Yeah, they're trying to bring them back. Like Rockingham is one of them.
I want to see Rockingham again.
I would love for them to restore Rockingham and make that a regular stop again. And I also would like to see North Wilkesboro be a regular stop again.
Yes, and they're working on that too.
Yeah, they're restoring it, doing a retro. They're doing a retro weekend with it this year, I think.
They didn't. They stopped Rockingham because they didn't have enough crowd there. Is that what it was? They didn't. They wanted I don't know how many thousands of people they wanted there.
Well, but they killed it though. That was because I went down there.
They filled it. They filled the stands, but it wasn't enough people for them.
Well, but the thing was, when they went to the big corporations where like Lowe's had got into Charlotte and stuff, that's the crowd they tried to cater to. And then once they got tired of it, then they didn't go anymore. Now we've got all these stands everywhere at all these tracks that are empty and no people. And now they've outpriced themselves for the regular guy. I mean, we used to go down on $1,000. We used to go to Talladega, stay down there all week, come back and go to Charlotte, stay down there all week and go to the next, the next race, the next week on $1,000. And we did everything, ate, golf, did everything, went to the races, it didn't cost you an arm and a leg. You didn't have to refinance the house. And those days are gone. That's the sad part, is they just priced everybody right out of it.
Yeah. What I would think they should do, to be honest with you, in my opinion, y'all probably agree with me. They just need to bulldoze Texas and put all those tracks back on the schedule.
Yeah, that's the track that gobbled up. So like Texas took took North Wilkesboro. Yeah, Texas took North Wilkesboro's dates, and that was why they got rid of North Wilkesboro. Exactly why is because of Texas. And that group bought Texas that owned North Wilkesboro, New Hampshire, whatever, and they yeah, you're right, Trace. The stands were filled. The camping grounds were filled. I mean, it was 100% capacity, and that just wasn't enough for them. They wanted to fill 90,000 or 100 and some thousand at Texas.
Right. And I was at the last race at Wilkesboro. Okay. And they, that's when Jeff Gordon won that last race.
That was 96, wasn't it? Or 98?
Yes, it was. And they had just built brand new grandstands in turn one. And if you go watch the races they just had there, which I thought is amazing. You're talking 25, 30-year-old stands. They were brand new for that race when I was there. They were nice aluminum stands. And I mean, you had all kinds of room where you could have put a cooler in front of you and still had enough room to walk by. And those things have been sitting there rotten for 25 years.
Well, Junior's fixing it up.
He is, but unfortunately, if he had a little more input back then, that racetrack would have never dilapidated like that.
Yeah, and that's when NASCAR was in its heyday, whatever, the 90s or 2000 area.
Yes. Well, it's not just NASCAR, but like it seems like there's a trend in general in the culture today for retro stuff, the going back and
bringing back the 80s.
Yeah. Well, the 80s and the set, I mean, just retro in general. Because nowadays things aren't really that spectator oriented. Like people just don't leave their house as much. They rather watch it on TV, watch on their computer, watch on their cell phone. Like they don't want to go into big mass events anymore like people used to. So when they're talking about the events of the good old days, I mean, they're talking about when people used to go and they're trying to fix stuff up for retro things. But even in things like video gaming, retro is a big thing now and makes a lot of money off old retro consoles and stuff like that. I'm just saying there's a big nostalgia and there's a reason why. And I just think that a lot of that stuff is lacking and people know it today. And there's a nostalgia for that kind of stuff. And I'd like to see,
right.
I'm with you as far as racing goes. I would like to see a lot of these traditional tracks that were in the NASCAR circuit for decades to get fixed up and keep the old retro look. I mean, that'd be a gimmick. Couple 2, 3, 4 times a year, go to these, have retro weekends and go to these tracks that have been fixed up and stuff.
Right. Well,
do that less road course racing. Sorry, Nathan. I mean, I like road course racing, but if I want road course racing, I'll go watch IndyCar or something. Like
I got rid of Road America for that stupid Chicago race. Like that's gonna be terrible.
Right? Yeah. I mean, people watch NASCAR because it's oval NASCAR racing. If they want to watch road racing, they can watch Indy or F1 or something.
Are they going to have NASCAR in town? They're not going to do that, are they?
Oh yeah, they're doing it in the town of Chicago.
It's in town, okay.
Yeah, it's nuts. But anyway.
On 4th of July weekend, the busiest weekend ever.
Yeah, I can't wait till one of them wrecks and destroys something in the town. That'd be the last time they do that.
Oh, there might be a riot out. They might not have it.
Getting back to Nathan now. Nathan, you've been a part of iRacing for what, 2 years now? So if that's the case, it's 2 years, right?
It's a little over 2 years, like 2.5.
Okay. So anyways, we like to classify you guys as COVID babies.
Hey now, Trace, come on
now. Hold on a second, Mike. And you know it, Mr. Excitement. And so with COVID coming along, we gained a lot of subscribers in iRacing. Some we didn't really need, but we have them anyways. But look, that's what made iRacing flourish basically was COVID, because iRacing was kind of stagnant. They brought dirt on a little bit later on, and that grew in popularity. Then they brought the rally cross stuff in. I think that's the 4 licenses, isn't it? There's road course, oval, and then your asphalt or your dirt road and dirt oval, if I remember right. So
yep, that's it.
That all came in, and then on 2020 is when iRacing had their big releases on the new builds, right? They brought in the new B-Cart chassis, and I don't know where you fit in on that, Nathan. I don't know if you were there before 2020.
No, I didn't start till the 25th of May of 2020.
Okay, so at that January, iRacing unrolled a bunch of updates. And there was a lot of exploits found in the old chassis and tire model and all this other stuff. Personally, I thought the racing was fun, but everybody said it was cookie cutter stuff because if you didn't run that setup, you weren't fast. And that's true. But in their defense, that made it fun because once you found it, the car actually drove normal. It doesn't drive like the new one we have today. And not everything should be a challenge or an impossibility, but it's definitely, to me, less fun than it used to be. When we had the exploits and stuff and you found it and everybody had it, the racing was still good because you could tell who didn't have the exploits and who did. And it was after that, it just came down to driving. And I thought the cars drove way better, even though the numbers were skewed. It drove awesome. It's how I thought they should drive. That's how that stuff that I've driven, or drove. And but anyway, so you guys came in at that time, and we had at the time the new tire model, and people were trying to figure it out. A lot of guys had VRS setups, and we used to call it the hospital hop because we were racing at Michigan, and you could tell as the tires would wear, they would lose grip, and it'd make the car act kind of wonky. And then you could tell because guys would just self spin going down the straightaway, and it was like, seriously. And this is why I hate this tire model and this chassis. There's some stuff in it which we've made videos on and stuff just to show. And iRacing didn't even know they had it. It was just kind of crazy. Who was it that talked to us, Mike, on that from iRacing?
Oh yeah, that was Matt Holden.
Matt Holden. Yeah. So Matt Holden chimes in on a couple of our videos going, We didn't even know we had that, not that it was illegal or anything was wrong. They just never knew that, like on their B open chassis. Now you're not a chassis builder, right?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll give you an example. And I don't know how the A cars are. We don't dabble too much. If we want something, we just slide on over to our friend Buster's Corner there. Anyways, so on the B car, the front ballast is in inches, right? So 28 inches is a minimum on everything but the super speedway car. But if you're not paying attention, the percentage of that nose weight changes at 28 inches depending on what chassis you're on. Okay. And that's what Matt Holden was saying. It's not supposed to be like that. 28 inches is supposed to be whatever the value is and stay that way, like the truck series and like the A car. But it's not like that in the B. And if you don't know that, then it just screws everything up.
Yeah, and I think Matt said something like, "Hey, thanks for finding that, guys. We'll take a look at it and see if we can fix it." But I don't think it's changed. I don't I don't think they've done anything to correct that if it's not supposed to be there. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, I just thought I'd share that with you. But that's why iRacing now is popular and still popular, because people can stay at home, have a lot of fun, interact with their friends, join a community, join a league, whatever. And, you just don't have to burn a bunch of extra money trying to waste gas going somewhere. If you don't have the money, you can do it at home.
Yeah.
So.
Especially
what's your iRating now, Nathan? How'd you get there?
Well, let's cover that in the second segment with him, Robert.
Okay,
but
right.
Go ahead. Let's ask this question instead. So you get into iRacing, you spend some time in iRacing, and you've landed yourself with a pretty solid team. And we'll get into detail how you got there in the next segment. But let's finish up with telling everybody where you landed.
So I used to run like fixed stuff. That's all I ran. Never dabbled in the open stuff. So I thought I'd just hit up EPI one day. I bought one of their season passes, and I just kept continuing, trying to become better. I've learned a lot of stuff. All those guys over there taught me a lot of stuff, more stuff than I actually knew. To be honest with you, I didn't even know half the stuff on there. So clueless with all setup stuff. But yeah, eventually I just kept going and going and going, and eventually I was promoted to a house driver.
Cool deal. So you landed at Elite Performance Industries. So that's where you're currently at. So let's pick up there with our second segment with you here in a few minutes, but let's hop into our third segment of the show tonight. And Robert Cook, this is your favorite segment. I want to break out the drum roll, and you can introduce the segment here, Robert. Here we go.
We're going to the wall of shame.
The wall of shame. That's right. Yeah. So, hey, Nathan, we got Joshua Connor. He's throwing some stuff out in the comments down here and giving you a shout out. He was like, "Hey, Nathan, what's up?" So he's in the comments here watching the podcast, giving you a shout out there, man.
What's up, Josh?
So anyway, we're headed to the wall of shame. Let me share my screen here, Robert, and you can kind of.
I don't think it's going to be that interesting this week.
Well,
on a road course, you think everybody just runs perfect circles?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's some guys that I see guys just get disqualified on the road courses. Too many X's. Let's see here. Let's look at our championship points so far in Division 1 here in the Xfinity Series on iRacing. And our championship points leader is still the same that we've had he's been leading pretty much the whole season. Tough guy, man, on the track as far as like just being up there, top finishes all season long, no matter what kind of track we're on. That is Cody Trelindi, friend of the channel here. He is the championship points leader, and he is out to his biggest lead yet, I think. He has 5,535 championship points. The next closest person.
Well, he's going to need that because Daytona's coming up.
That is true. Next closest person to him is Brandon Schmidt, 5,059. So looks like Cody has about a 20. What is that? 24. 476 championship point lead there, somewhere around there. Doing quick math in my head, I might be wrong, but that's close. Man, Trace, that is his I think that's about his biggest lead of the season so far.
Yeah, I mean, Cody's just clicking him off right now. I think he's in full stride. Just putting in solid races, even his bad races, he's still in the top 10. But for the most part, he's always a contender. He's usually in the top 5. But yeah, I think Cody keeps continuing. I think it's his to lose personally, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, in second place is Brandon Schmidt, and we talked earlier, Nathan. You had some bad luck there in the strength of field race on Monday
You
night.
met him personally.
Yeah, you met Brandon's car right up close and personal there in that mess and the S's on turn 1. But Brandon's been a real solid finisher all season long. He just thought he put a little too much into his car and thought his tires could hold a little more than they could coming out of the S's there. But he's in second place still. There in championship points. Justin R. Smith is below 5,000. He's at 48.83 in third place. And your teammate there, Nathan, John Jenkins, number 3, he is 46.74 in fourth place in overall points. Mike T. Bruno, he's been struggling as of late in the strength of field races, but man, he's hanging on there, staying in the top 5 in overall championship points this year. Mike Bruno, they're driving for phase 2, is at 46.44 this week. Anthony Federico, 7th place, 43.90. Johnny Baldridge, 43.67. Randall Nichols, 40.70. And then rounding out your top 10 still is Ronnie Joyner there. He's in 10th place. And he's the first guy to drop below 4,000, 39.67. So I tell you what, we got some strong drivers there in your top 10 in Division 1, Trace.
Yeah, you're talking about Mike T. Bruno. That guy's gritty. I'm telling you what, we've been following him over the last few weeks on the Monday night strength of field race, and he's always in the mix. He may not be the fastest car, but he definitely gets everything he can out of it every week, and he's definitely a guy to watch for sure.
Yeah, and Robert, we've raced with Mike, constantly during the
years.
week.
I don't know how many years.
Yeah, you've raced with him a lot longer than I have, and he's usually pretty quick, especially in the non-strength of field races, like the non-Monday night SOF race. Throughout the week, he's usually one of the highest numbered cars, or not highest number, highest I rating, lowest number. And really dominant usually, but in these strength of field races, man, the competition has just kicked it up a notch. I mean, the competition this year is wild. I finished 10th place last year overall in championship points in Division 1, and I'm telling you, Robert, I don't know. I haven't raced any SOF races this year because we've been broadcasting them all, right? But if I were racing them, I tell you, man, I don't know if I'd even be in the top 25 this year. After my 10th place finish last year, it is just the competition is wild. It is really, really gotten to the next level here in the Division 1B open racing.
I think that has to do with what do you call it? Going to the pro thing.
Road to pro.
Yeah, the road to pro. Yeah, my brain. I'm getting old. My brain ain't working at all now.
Try Post-it notes. They work for us.
But yeah, I don't think there's any disputing it, Tracy. I mean, the competition has just really taken off in these Monday night strength of field races.
The finishes are exciting, and the problem is you're talking about guys in points, right? The guys that have been up front aren't even in the points race. There's guys that are just one-off guys that'll miss. Look at Boyd Hogan. He had a fabulous summer. He won almost 3 races in a row. Then he's working on his road to pro stuff. He would be up there. Parker White, he should be up there. That guy's been tough all year long too. Casey Kostowitz, he's been fabulous at all the road courses, and I'm sure just a little polish on the ovals, he would be right up there. So it's just amazes me that the top 10 is not really indicative of what the racing is every week with the guys that are out there.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I was just reading the chat while you were talking, Trace. I was listening to you.
It's blown up, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I was listening to Josh O'Connor, and he made a Top Gun Mavericks reference. I just watched that movie the other day, and I loved it, man. Top Gun Maverick is an awesome movie, but he said Cody is inverted Maverick on Twitch. Says he's big in the community and always checks on different iRacing streamers. So yeah, talk about Cody Trelendi. So go check him out on Twitch. Inverted Maverick. I think he's talking about Cody Trelendi. Yeah. And so anyway,
and the man can't forget Ken Byron's on, and he's got the best rig, man. He's got us all blown away when it comes to his rig.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm with you, man. The competition is just crazy. Next year, I might start. Well, maybe we'll figure something out for the broadcasts.
We need a pre-show. That's what we need. We need a pre-show, and we need to get these guys in on the interviews too.
Well, so. I was going a different route. You're talking about spicing them up. I was thinking about maybe finding some way to pawn that off on one of you guys a bit for steering the broadcast on the Monday night, and I might race them next year or something. I don't know. I kind of miss racing those Monday night strength of field races. The problem is, I mean, the strength of field is so high anymore that I barely make it in. You know, last year I was like the 15.
Well, you wouldn't have made it in last week.
Yeah. Like last year I was the 12 car, 10 car, 15 car, you know, in the SOF races. This year, like I'd barely make the field. I mean, a lot of these races, you got to have at least a 4,000 I rating just to make the cut.
Yeah, we're sorry. We've got Tommy Gossett this year for our in-car drivers, so we're going to use him. You're stuck in a booth, man.
Tommy's edged me out on my own show.
Now, Robert, we got to get Big Boo Betty on the show too. You know, we need her a week. So.
Yeah, well, she's busy in the garage area. You know what I mean?
I'll bet she's busy in the garage area.
All right, Robert. Let's look at this week only in championship points. I think this week's going to be
let's just hit the incidents right off the bat here while we're sitting here on.
Well, it's easier for me just to bring up Watkins Glen real quick and look at championship points. I was just interested.
Casey Costa.
Yeah, I was interested. Normally, normally if you win a high SOF race on an oval week, Nathan, they're usually pulling like 300 championship points or more, sometimes 303, 305, something like that. And I was interested on Watkins Glen being a road course with being a lower strength of field, like what the winner would get. It looks like Casey Kosowicz, who won the Monday night SOF race, and he is a Ryko team driver there. Ken Byron came on, was very proud of Casey's win there Monday night. He picked up 147 championship points from the SOF win. So road course races are definitely most people's drop weeks.
Well, Ryan Kuhn looks like he got it. That's number 8.
Let's look at incident points here. Robert wants to hop right to the wall of shame. Nathan, if you don't follow the podcast, the wall of shame, we look at incident points from greatest number of incident points per race average. And we're going to look this week, and this is just for Division 1. We'll start out with here at Watkins Glen. And
I think it's the number 4 guy there.
The most number of raw points is David W. Robertson, but he had 14 starts with 57. So that's really not that bad.
No, that's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
I think he had a problem on Monday night too. Didn't he run that race? Didn't he?
Yeah. He left early. I think
somebody drove into him or something, cut him off.
Well, that was the start of the race, but that really wasn't what caused him the damage. It was remember he had ran a car in the rear end a couple of times there about
up through the S's, wasn't it? Somewhere around there.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, because
he got mad. He got mad at the wrong car.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I think it's Ryan. I think Ryan's the one who got number 4.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm responding. Josh O'Connor said we should. Hey Trace, here we go. Josh O'Connor says we should open up our Discord to host people who are open to interviews during races. A bunch of the cars, slots, teams, slots, and argue and agreement to pull up to your broadcast and treat it like we do.
Yeah,
well, we might want to go into the unofficial Nuno channel.
Tommy Gossett stops in under cautions all the time, man. So we're open to that.
So if anybody's interested, Tommy popped into the Discord and offered to do that, and we've had Scott Austin from our team do it. So yeah, Josh, man, if you or anybody else out there has an invite to the Alien Factory Discord, we got some race channels, race rooms down below. We'll drag you down too, and anytime we want to do an interview, we'll pull you up. So yeah, if anybody in your team and anybody over there on EPI there, Nathan, anybody wants to be able
do you think we should do the Discord at the
No,
unofficial?
no. You don't want to do that because we need to be able to pull. That's why we don't do that. Nino said, "Hey, you guys ought to broadcast out of the Be Open Discord." But the problem is that they've only got one chat channel that people can get into. It's general. When we do the broadcasting, we got to have the broadcasters in one channel and the drivers in separate channels and be able to pull.
Well, tell Nuno set it up that way.
Yeah, so we have several race rooms down below in our Discord. So yeah, if you guys want to do that, we'll create a Discord channel.
And if you get wrecked, if you guys get wrecked, just come on and see us, man. We'll be glad to talk it over.
Yes, we will. We'll
absolutely.
right there live.
Yeah. Or that we'll turn it on anyway for you guys can hear it on the game anyway when you're cussing each other out or whatever you're doing.
Well, anyway, yeah. So we could create like a EPI box there to put 3 or 4 of you in, and Ryko and anybody else that has a team that wants to pop in and drag you guys up.
Rock'em sock'em robot, huh?
Yeah. We can drag you guys up for in-car interviews. I know Tommy pops in a lot, and we drag him up for in-car interviews. So yeah, Josh, man, we do that, and we'd be happy to expand that. That's a good idea if anybody's listening and wants to take part in that. So anyway, yeah. So Robert, I usually never make a top split. Well, yeah.
Well, we might have to make a week at take an exception one week, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But there's already a bottom split channel, so we can't really go bottom split.
Yeah, that'd be gimmick infringement right there, Trace, is what that'd be. We don't want to do any gimmick infringement.
That's because we're doing the top.
Well, anyway, Robert,
you have a lot of times, you have more wrecks sometimes on the top split than you do on the bottom split. There's so much ego in that room. I tell you what, it'll fill a hall.
All right, Robert. So you think you've got our winner picked out?
Yeah, Ryan number 4 up there.
Ryan Kuhn. Okay. He has 2 races. Oh yeah, 2 races, 24 incidents. That's 12 incidents a race.
He's got a win though.
Yeah, he does have a win. Yeah. Ryan's pretty tough a lot of times.
Well, yeah, he probably wrecked everybody out of his way.
No, you gotta take in consideration here, being a road course, and Nathan, you can support me on this too. It's easy to rack up a bunch of 1X's, and that's possibly what he's got there, because he's got a win and he's got a lot of incidents. He didn't get wrecked to win that thing. He probably got a lot of off tracks,
when you come off the bus stop and going off the
or in turn one last year, you used to be able to fade up a little bit coming out of turn 1.
Yeah,
and now you fade up hardly at all and you got a 1X. So.
And I know iRacing has changed some of those areas that you can go through.
They need to eliminate that, because you're watching the race, everybody's going up high coming off the bus stop.
But that being said, we still have I was gonna say, but that being said, we still have our disclaimers. So Ryan, if you want to come on the show and explain your side of the situation, man, we'd be glad to have you.
I bet he knocked everybody out of his way.
Well, we'll have to wait for Ryan to let us know.
Well, hey, Robert, our Derek Heitman, our A Open guy who likes to get the shout out there for the Wall of Shame and A Open. I invited him one tonight, but he had another engagement as well, and he was going to be our first taker from the Wall of Shame to come on and explain his side. So he's a friend of the channel, so we'll have him on here in the future. He can talk about he made sure
he's proud of it. He's proud of it.
He reached
just
out
like
to
you
Robert
were a
to
couple
make sure
years
we
ago.
talked about him.
Like you were a couple of years ago.
All right, so let's look here at the all divisions, and we'll wrap up the Wall of Shame. We'll move to all divisions because that was Division 1 only, and our winner there on Division 1 was Ryan Kuhn. And here for all divisions, let's take a look here, Robert, and see what we see. We got Donald Lucas has 9 starts, 74.
Chris Klein, number 14.
All right, Chris Klein, number 2. He has 32 incidents. Oh, and 2 starts. Yeah, it'd be 16 a race. I'm not seeing anybody else. I think that.
Well, I caught my eye real quick. I go by, look at the small numbers and look at the big numbers. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, well, he's tied though. He's tied with Travis Burton, number 2. They're right above him. Same deal. Two races, 32 incidents. I'm doing
that means Travis will probably get it then.
Well, let's see here. I'm doing some more quick math. Yeah, no.
Although Travis is a B.
Look at the guy in 21st. He's got 39 with 2.
20.
Oh no, he has 27. I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah,
No,
I did the
27.
same thing. You look at championship points. I done that one.
Yeah, I
time.
literally did
Yeah.
the same thing.
Sometimes I stare at this stuff and my eyes kind of cross a little bit. Yeah, okay. I think there we go. I think we got
we got a
double
tie.
roast.
We got a tie.
But what's the tiebreaker, Robert? Number of laps, right? So how many
Oh
laps?
yeah, oh yeah. That's right.
So we got
Travis got it.
Travis Burton and Chris Klein. Let's see here. Number of
38
laps.
to 58. There you go.
Oh yeah, he must have got wrecked out of a race or two there. So there you go. Your overall winner of the Wall of Shame this week for B Open for all divisions is Watkins Glen is Travis Burton, number 2.
Come on, he's only a Division 6, so he hadn't been on very long.
Yeah, Travis, and it's been a rough week for you, man. So feel free to come on, man. Invitations always open. Reach out to us. You can talk to us about your week at the Glen. But it sounds rough. You didn't complete a whole lot of laps either.
Well, I just want to say the disclaimer here is that just because you got an awful lot of incident doesn't mean it's all your fault.
That's true. You could have been a crash test
victim of
dummy for somebody
circumstances.
else.
You could have been like Kimi Räikkönen today at Watkins Glen and get Chastained.
Oh jeez. Oh my goodness. Well, that's the Wall of Shame this week. We're not.
I got to go back and watch that. I ate my pizza and fell asleep.
I want to bring down the Wall of Shame.
Guys, you forgot Division 1. You got to get that one guy mentioned.
We did do Division 1, but we're not going to do A Open this week.
Okay, because that's the only time you're going to find him.
Yeah,
that'd be another show. That'd be a whole nother
that'd be
show.
another show,
wait till
another
next
day.
week. Wait till next week. There'll be a lot of incidents next week.
Maybe, yeah. Oh yeah. Daytona. That'll be an interesting Wall of Shame. Anyway, let's move into the final segment of the night. And just kind of wanted to pick up, and it's kind of what Robert had asked earlier. And we want to kind of get into your current journey, man, where you're at, what you're doing, really the journey you've had. Like in the last 6 months, you've had a pretty big journey as far as iRating goes. So we didn't see you there in the Division 1, Nathan. And why is that? Let's Turbe, first of all, why we didn't see your name on Division 1.
Because when I started this season, I was at like a 3,100 iRating, so that put me in Division 2. Right,
but everything else in Oval, if you go to like A Open or something, you'd be in Division 1, because the way Division 2 works is it was a Division 2 when Xfinity series starts. 39. It's Xfinity and trucks are 39-week seasons, same as NASCAR, and so Daytona week in February, whatever week that is that's when the first race you run, that's what you're locked into for all 39 weeks. And so you say your iRating was back in beginning of February was 3,100. What's your iRating today?
My oval iRating is now at 54.21.
So you're looking at you're looking at 2,300 iRating gains since February, and we're now.
And he's only been on what, 2 years? A little over 2 years.
Yeah, about 2.5.
He's young. He's got fast reflexes. He's healthy. You can't compete him against a 67-year-old man. No.
Well, according to Nathan, just turn your force feedback down. That'll probably help.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I did, and then Brandon convinced me to turn it up. So
I like mine being up.
Yeah, I'm turning mine up a little bit.
But anyway, so you went from 3,100 to 54 something here in like what 7 months, something like that. Man, that is awesome. Now let me ask you, do you think, I mean, the question everybody has is how did you do it? But let's do that in pieces. So the big question is, how did you do it? But let's start with the fact that we talked about the fact that you've landed at EPI, Elite Performance Industry. Do you feel like that being there has really helped get you to make part of that gain or to make that journey as well?
Yeah, it has. Learning a lot from Nick, and then of course, John that's on there. I'll sit and ask and be like, "Hey, John, how do you do this?" And be like, "Oh yeah, you do this like this." I'm like, maybe I'll go try that, and then it just somehow clicks.
Yeah. So when you're talking about John, about our friend of our channel here is on the podcast the last week, John Jenkins. And then and Nick, you're talking about Nick Ottinger, right? He's the builder for the B car
Yeah.
over there. Yeah. So being there has helped you. So we'll get into how it's helped you here later. But let me ask specifically, how did you wind up at EPI? Let's tell that story. So how did you become an EPI team driver?
So I started I bought the D-Class late models. I was trying to learn some short track stuff. So I was like, I give those cars a try because they're not overpowering. I can learn how to drive in deeper. So I did that for a season. And then I picked up the C Open Dev Driver season pass where I get all the setups for the trucks. And I did that for a week, and I was like I said earlier, the pre-production stuff. I helped Dustin with Mid Ohio road course. Not a lot of guys good at road courses and stuff like that. Then doing that for a little bit, I was like, maybe I want to try to get into the little Legends cars. Those cars are really fun to drive if you know how to drive them. They're a pain when they gets loose because you can't save them. But so I bought that, and I sent the message that I bought the season pass to the owner, which is Tyler Payne, and he got me all set up and opened up the channels and everything. And then he's like, hey, you want to try running this Legends race with me? And I was like, yeah. So he pulled me up into our little team clubhouse channel that we have. And I told him, I said, hey, I've never ran these cars. I just want to learn how to do this. And so I hopped in a race, and we went and raced the infield Legends at Iowa. And we were racing pretty good. And I started picking up how the car drives over the course of a run. Had a bunch of cautions because you know how short tracks are, cautions.
Oh yeah, and then those Legends cars, man, tempers flare and people start yelling at
Yeah.
It's wild. I
People
love doing
bumping
those
out of
Legends
the
every once in a
way.
while.
Kind of like you yell at your kids, huh, Mike?
Hey now, Tracy.
Podcast.
Well, at least I hit the mute button.
But so we were racing that, and he led a bunch of laps, and then I got him on one restart, and we were going at it. We were side by side for, I don't know, 10 laps ripping around there. And I started just figuring out that outside groove, even though it was a flat oval track. And I eventually got a good crossover move on him, and I sent it down. I basically dive bombed him in turn one. And I was like, hey, don't kill me. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna wreck you. I'm not gonna wreck you. I was like, all right. So we were racing hard like that. Well, I beat him, and he's like, so you've never driven, he's like, you've never driven this car, and you just beat basically the owner. You want house rolls? And I was like, sure, I guess. If you want to give them to me, give them to me. And so that's how I became a house driver for EPI.
So you raced your way in.
Basically that's kind of, I don't know. I guess he just seen that I was that good, and he said, you know what, let's give him a shot.
In there so hard, you hope it'll stick.
Basically, like I say, when I'm driving an oval, I put it in the corner and I pray. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I just try again.
Now, are they going to groom you for a pro driver, like Road to Pro or anything?
I don't have to be honest with you, I'm not into the Road to Pro stuff. I don't have the time too much. I don't want to stress out over it. I kind of just want to, do iRacing for fun. Yeah, having high iRating's cool and all, but sometimes I kind of wish I didn't have it because how some of those guys get when you're racing those top splits. But yeah, I don't want to do any of the pro stuff. I don't have the time for it. Like I said, I'm a college student. I'm trying to get done with that and try to pursue a career. So
yeah, dude, I agree with you, Nathan, man. Sometimes in those top split races, the racetrack can't hold all those egos, man.
Yeah, they're a little toxic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Good thing they don't have a top on them, huh?
All right,
it would explode. You get it? That's if they had a top on, it would explode. Okay.
and I know a lot of guys who like reached out to set up shops wanting to become a team driver, that kind of stuff, because they're wanting to get their setups for free or whatever, because buying a bunch of sets can get expensive and everything. But shops are looking for guys who can really know what they're doing with the car. And you kind of showed that to the owner, like, hey, and you were a customer. You didn't even ask them. I'm assuming you weren't even asking, hey, I want to be a team driver. You just buying their stuff, happy doing your own thing, just chilling out. And they just recognized, the talent that you had and was like, hey man, we'd love to pick you up as a house driver. Cause that way that you're racing and they get to see somebody doing well with their sets, what other drivers do, and it helps them sell them. It's advertisement for them. Believe me, you're giving them a better value and advertisement than what you're paying for the sets. Like they're making out on that deal. A lot of the shops are to get good team drivers.
Yeah, I need to get logos on my Xfinity car. I still haven't gotten that done. My one of my friends, he's supposed to be painting the cars for me, but he's a certified public accountant, so you probably already know how that is.
Well, so here's the question. Here's what I really want to focus on tonight. And we do this with a lot of drivers that had big I-rating jumps. I mean, and it's really cool hearing different perspectives, and different drivers will tell you different things. I think the first driver we had on to tell the story was Tommy Gossett, when he made a big jump of a couple thousand I-rating in a short amount of time. And then we had on Brandon Burkhart, who went from like
Brandon had a great story on how to get up there.
Yeah, he went from like low 2000s up to low 4000s in a matter of like 6 months or so, still like a 2000 I-rating jump, kind of like you're talking about a different level of 2000 jump, from low 2s to low 4s, but you went from low 3s to mid 5s pretty much, 2300 I-rating jump in a matter of 7 or 8 months. So man, everybody, I mean, that's the deal in iRacing. People are trying to get faster and get their I-rating up. And they're always looking for the secret sauce. And I don't think the secret sauce is all that secret, but it takes a lot of hard work. But I want to hear your journey. And that's what our viewers want to hear, is how in the world did you go from 3,100 I-rating in a matter of 7 months to 5,400
exploits?
What helped you? What helped you get there? Who helped you? What helped you? And any advice you got for them. So let's start with, how did you get there, and who helped you, and what kind of help did you get?
Well, I got there by learning the limit of the car. If you don't know the limit of the car, you're going to go nowhere. That's the first thing that I've always been told to work with. If you can't hit that maximum limit with that car and be somewhat semi-competitive with it, then you're just going to go downhill.
So you're saying it's not 10 tenths. It might be 8 tenths. It might be 7 tenths. But once you hit that limit, then that's where you try to operate in, right?
Is it the car limit? Because I go as far as my limit can go. And then when I start getting too fast, I'm losing control. Then I know I have to back.
To be honest with you, and you'll actually find this weird, I don't drive the car at 100%. I think when I do a race, I'm driving at 70. I never hit full 100% unless it's like a final run where you're like 15 laps, and I'll go 100% as hard as I can. I always just go with smooth inputs, smooth steering wheel. Once you learn the lines of the track, especially like Nick over at EPI and John over there, they are willing to help you. They teach you lines and everything. Like, I struggled at Michigan. I ran that SOF race, and I think I finished like 20th. I couldn't figure that car out. Sat down with John over there. He showed me everything. We got some adjustments all the way that we were doing, and figured out what was a good strategy over there. But definitely trying to find your maximum peak of the car by not driving it or over driving it and burning your tires up. Because if you're able to save tires at the beginning of the run, I try to chill out for like 10 laps, and then I start going harder and harder and harder, because you will have more tire over the long run versus somebody that just goes hard 24/7.
It ruins you when these guys could only do 20 laps and bring out a caution, though.
Yeah, that kind of screws you up.
Yeah, then I'm glad they come up with the tire limit, but sometimes I think they still got a little bit too much tire limit. They gave us one or two many more tires than we really need.
Well, they had narrowed that up for a while, and it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
They erased it instantly, though.
Yeah, people complain. I don't know, maybe new guys. I don't know. When they're pitting all the time, you got to used to save that one tire for the green white checker. You might use them all up, but you got to save one.
So Nathan, let me dig a little deeper here on this whole idea of finding the limit of the car without burning up the tires and that kind of stuff, and talk about running 70% of what you could possibly run to, and picking up more speed later and that kind of stuff, because that's stuff that I think that Tracy preaches. When he works with drivers, he'll say, go out, and he'll prove it to them. He'll say, go out and run it as hard as you can, just like you're qualifying, give me 20 laps that way, and then go out and run it, and don't run a lap time faster than X, and go out and run it like that. And he'll show them that after 20 laps, he's either ahead his way or maybe he's tied his way, but the fall off is much greater,
Days of
running it
Thunder
ragged
thing.
at 100%. And after 20 laps, everything's gravy. You're faster than what you would have been. And so I think that's provable fact that that's the way it is. However, one of the biggest complaints that I've seen trying to work with guys and teach them that. And here's the thing, I overdrive sometimes. I've
No way, not Mikey.
Oh yeah. I mean,
That's why he's Mr. Excitement.
well, I usually keep my I rating. It's low right now. It's like 3,800, but I usually almost always keep it above 4,000. And if when I get back into racing some roadable stuff, I'll pop it back up. I'm sure, as long as I don't get wrecked out a bunch more. But anyway, but as I'm trying to work with guys that have 22, 25, 3,000 I rating, whatever, and want me to help them a little bit to get faster, I'll tell them exactly what you said, and we'll compare inputs. And like when I said I even overdrive, I've been doing some. I've been getting. I've been testing out the Ryko Performance Manager a little bit. As Ken put that up, and it's pretty cool. As you can see some of their house drivers' inputs and compare yours. And I noticed when we were at where were we at, Trace? It was at Michigan. I can't remember where it was. No. Where was the last place out? We were looking at my lift point. Oh, Pocono. We were at Pocono, and I was looking at my lift points, and I thought I was lifting pretty far back. And it turned out Cody and their builder was lifting a little bit farther back than I was even, and carrying a little bit more speed to the corner. And they were a little bit faster than me by a tenth or two a lap. And so what I'm trying to get at is that a lot of the guys I try to help that have lower I ratings, they're overdriving the corners a bunch. And when you try to get them to understand that concept that we're talking about, they always complain. They're like, I'm slower now. They're like, you've told me to drive less. And I've tried backing up my corner, and I'm even slower than I was before. And you're driving faster than me. And so how can I be driving slower than you are? And that's the biggest complaint. So how do you get past that? Like for me, it just took a lot of practice, a lot of time comparing telemetry files and looking at the data. The data doesn't lie. And so, but the feel of the car, and that's something Scotty used to struggle with. We tell Scotty he was overdriving, and then he'd get upset because we were just pulling away from him, So how do you help somebody learn how to drive fast, but less? I mean, drive fast on less burning of tires and stuff of that nature.
To be honest with you, that's kind of that's like a really hard subject, because like everybody's got different driving styles. My driving style might not be the same as another person. Somebody might, somebody could enter higher, attack a corner better, get a better turnout. Most of the time, what I like to do an arc, but not a big arc. I try to shorten the radius of the turn. So when I show them how I do it, and you'll find this weird. Any track I go to, if it's the Xfinity car, there's brake involved in the corner, except for super speedways, which you don't need that because you're holding it wide open. I always try to show them how dragging a brake by turning your brake bias down. I run really low brake bias. I think.
Yeah, I normally run a lot lower too. Than
I run like 55%.
In fact, sometimes when I'm pitting on old tires under green flags, I got to remember to go turn the brake bias with my button that I've mapped to it, and I got to remember to turn it up a little bit so I don't go sideways trying to get into the pits.
Yeah, there's also another trick that I've learned that I have. So you know how you can go to your camera. And
why don't you tell everybody what turning the brake bias down does? We talked about us doing it, right? So we turn it down a little bit. So why do we do that?
So turning the brake bias down in the car, when you're going in the corner and you're using the brake to set the car, when you have it more to the rear, you can step the rear of the car out, which will give you better rotation into the corner. Because the higher you have it, you put more load on the front tires. And when you put more load on the front tires, that builds heat, and the car will just go straight to the wall. So when you dial that back, you can get more of the braking done to the rear to kind of get your car pointed into the direction of the corner that you want to go.
Absolutely. You're steering with your brake basically a little bit by dragging into the corner.
Steering with throttle control too.
Yeah, steering with throttle and brake. Yeah, and that's something that I think is when we're trying to teach people to drive less but faster. I think the brake bias is I wouldn't call it a secret, but it's definitely a tool.
Is that trail braking? Is that known as trail braking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not really, and Nathan, it's not really to slow you. I mean, it slows you down a little bit, but it's not really the slowing down part. It's the steering of the car with your pedals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, so we got there, and I didn't mean to stop your train of thought, but I think you were headed somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I interrupted you.
So another thing I learned. So you know how you can go in and you can change your camera view with the Control F12, and you can save that to your car, like where you want your seating position.
Yeah.
So I have in mind with my sound, I have my master volume turned down. But if you go in there's an option called mic gain, and if you turn that up, I turn mine up to like 3, and then turn your tires up. The tires are actually louder than the in-game iRacing default.
Yep. We do the same thing. In fact,
yeah.
I did a video on tire wear when we first started the channel. It's the Tracy. I think if I look at still our video that has the most views of any video we've ever had, and it was about a couple of tips of how to reduce tire wear, Nathan. And that was, I showed him that trick. You turn your tire wear up, your engine and everything else in car down, and it makes the tire wear a lot louder. Yep.
But he's going to a camera view, right? You want to explain that for me one more time in case we missed it?
So when you go into your replay, like when you're in the sim and you're sitting in your car, you go to your cockpit camera.
Okay.
You do your Control F12, and then there's an option that says mic gain. So what that does, when you turn that up, it boosts the sounds a lot louder.
Oh, hold on. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about iRacing sound off. Oh, I skipped over. I didn't catch that part. You're talking about
so what that does
totally
is it'll boost the sound more. So that's why I turned the master volume down a bit, so it's not overwhelming on my headset. But when you have the tires turned up and that turned up, you hear the tires a lot louder than just having the tire volume itself set.
Oh, and where is this option at? Trace, maybe this is one of our next videos.
It's in the camera editing part.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, before we go too far, what value? Give me an idea where you set that, Rascal.
I set mine to like 3.1 to 3.2. And then I just save that to the car, and that permanently stays on that car.
And what's the setting called again?
It's called mic gain.
It's in decibels. Mic gain. It's in decibels. It's under the editing part of the camera tool.
All right. But we're not talking about the mic channel. We're talking about the tire channel.
Well, no,
it turns up the sound. It turns up all the in-game sounds and everything.
It
turns everything up louder than what it would be just standard, all turned up 100%.
Okay, I got you.
He's broadening that range that you can use by doing it like that.
Yeah.
But you're the first person that has actually made it sound. I mean, so I've got a very good understanding of what you're saying. I never even thought of it, which is good on your part. But this is the fundamental elementary stuff that nobody tells you, right? And these are the little things that are, instead of buying a setup, now you're going back to understanding the car. And that's what we've always preached is, like you said, not driving at 10/10. And I've got on Mike about this before when we're at different tracks, and it's hard for him to understand. And it's hard for me to understand too. And now you've gave us another tool that we can share with people that should help this out. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's a key point.
No problem.
Cool. So dude, Nathan, that's awesome. That's what people are here at the podcast to hear, that kind of stuff. So we got the mic boost there and the camera, the F12 camera function. And guys, me and Tracy will probably do a video, just show you real quick how to do that. Here is in our first videos we do of our own demand that we bring back to you guys. Nathan, what else, man? So that's good stuff. What else has kind of helped you that you feel comfortable sharing?
Learning different tire scrub sounds. The more wheel you do, the tire is going to sound different how it scrubs progressive. The less wheel you got and you're not scrubbing it, you won't hear any scrubs. So once you get up higher and higher and higher, and you hear that thing, sounds like it's like scrubbing. It's like somebody sound like they're rubbing or scratching your hands across.
Yeah, rubbing sandpaper across the chalkboard
like that. As soon as you know that, that's when you know, hey, maybe I'm driving the car way too hard. Back it down a bit, because you want to hear minimal tire scrub as possible. That's how you be fast. Minimal tire scrub. Now, another thing, if you're on a track that is known to get right rear loose, try taking a couple laps, drive it, attack the corner, burn that right front off for a couple laps, then go back and burn your right rear off. You want to try to even that tire wear out too. That's another good trick to do, is try to even out.
Yeah, so now we're talking about adapting to the track and to the car. And this is something I think that people that are just starting out, right? I think if you don't know how to build a set, go get a set and be done with it. Some people will go buy a set, or something, and get a decent set. Some people will get a set and they won't leave it alone. They've got to touch it. And this is one thing that me and I tease Scotty about, because we love Scotty. He's missed he's usually on the podcast, but Scott Stevens, member of our team. We love Scooter Scotty. But he's been busy and he's missed tonight. But man, I could give Scotty the best setup in the world. Somebody I could get off somebody or whatever. And Scotty can't just go drive it. He's got to go try to change it and make it his own to fit what he's doing. And I've always been a proponent of the opposite. Like if I go get the set from you guys at EPI and it's been proven to be fast, then I need to adapt my driving to how that setup is, because the setup's fast. I'm the one that's got the problem. And so I need to go adapt my driving to it. And like you said, do things like if the front right starting to feel like it's starting to burn a little quicker, then you can do things to try to burn the rear a little better to even it out, and vice versa. And that's the kind of stuff you're talking about. So man, that's also some great advice to guys trying to make, get their
That sounds like something you use in fixed to me. Fixed setup races, where you can't adjust it. That would be a good tool.
The only thing with fix the tool, if you're running fixed races, is this: if you're running a 1.5-mile track, run a 16 box, turn the brake bias down, use some brake, try to get that, because you just want to protect the right front in that case, because those are all right front burning setups.
Okay. So you said 16-1 on that steering, 16.
Yeah, and I like that. And I'm a weird person. I don't know how y'all personally. I like positive offset. I like my wheel a little bit to the right. I can't go down a straightaway with my wheel to the left.
Well, most of us here don't run fixed for the very simple fact is we never like the setups.
Well, even in open, I adjust the offset, because like sometimes like if you got a setup where like it'll stay to the left, I have to adjust it where it's to the right. I can't. It's weird.
Yeah, I like a little bit of offset because I like my wheel to be in the center. If I'm going down a straight stretch, I like my wheel to be straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm with you. So what else? I mean, that's all good stuff.
Well, having your wheel offset, doesn't that require you might use less wheel turning?
So yeah. So like if I use a lot of right offset, so when I'm going in the corner, my wheel can be semi kind of straight. So like if let's say I have a lot of right offset and I'm turning into the corner, my wheel will be straight up and down like that. I kind of use that as a guide too. Also like with even my physical hands, I use physical hand positions too. If I'm going in a corner, everybody does 9 and 3. When I'm going in the corner, my hands at 11 and 5. So my hands are still like 9 and 3 when the wheels turn. I can't have my hands turn like that. I gotta have it just sitting like that. I can't.
Well, I noticed on some of the other wheels, they're adding like a second and third piece of tape. So one is when it's straight, and one is the amount of turn that you want in the corner, and no more than that too.
Yeah, I only have the one little stripe on mine, so I don't have any of that fancy tape. I wish I had something.
Yeah, I don't either. So all right. So man, what else you got for me? This is all good stuff. And the funny thing is, is I want to hit this again, is every single week we have a driver that talks about this stuff. Not one time has Nathan talked about something special with a set, right? I mean, I'm assuming you're running the EPI stuff out of the box, right?
Yeah, I really don't make any adjustments to it, because like I said, I came from fixed racing. If it drives terrible, I adapt my driving style to make it go fast. I will change my habit mid-race. Like if it's plowing like a snow plow, pulling snow off the road, I will figure out a way to get the thing where it won't plow.
I think Tommy Gossett and Cody and all them guys said the same thing too, if I remember right.
It's constant, Trace. Like everybody that's setting like a 2000 iRating says, man, if I just had that special sauce setup, I'd be just as fast as the 5000 guy. That's what's holding me back. It's his setup.
Equipment.
Yeah, or equipment or whatever. It's always something other than what they're doing with their wheel and pedals. And every driver that we've had on that's done it and made it to the level they say they can make, not one of them has ever come in and said, yeah, it's that special sauce. It's every other thing they're talking about. It has to do with the wheel and the pedal inputs and the control of their hands and feet. And that's all the advice Nathan's given us. And I have found that that's what got me from like 2,500 to 4,000, or 4,500, wherever it was I was at. I haven't been able to make it to the 5,000 level yet where Nathan's at, but I believe that it's not the setup. It's me that hasn't made it to that level yet.
I thought I was taking too much drugs. Okay.
But I mean, Nathan, do you agree with that statement? Every driver's basically said the same thing, and I preach the same thing as well. It's us is the problem.
Yeah. And then like how John said last week, the more time you put in seat time, the more you get comfortable running, you'll start picking it up where you throttle up, where you get off throttle, where you brake, anything like that. You'll just pick it up. It'll just come to you naturally.
You guys are bringing a lot of this to the forefront now. You know what I mean? You're making people aware of a checklist that I need to do this, and this.
Well, they all been saying it though, right?
Well, but the thing is now we have a time frame. Okay, where we didn't have a time frame before. Everybody went out, they bought the set for the week. And we've been saying week in and week out here at the podcast, you get these collectors, they go out and they get all these setups from everybody, and they just change setups and they never change their driving. So how was your week? Well, they had a terrible week because they qualified poor, they raced poor, got in every wreck, you know what I mean? Or their one-off deal and that kind of stuff. And how much time did you have did you have involved in just your practicing and learning your craft here?
So most of the time, when we get the set sent to us, I'll spend a day running multiple fuel runs out, seeing how the car handles over time. The last thing I always practice is qualifying. Sometimes I can qualify poorly.
Me too.
But
sometimes I don't even practice qualifying because I don't really care that much.
I don't care about qualifying.
Yeah, like if you know you're going to be fast and you can pass people, you really don't even need to qualify. You can start in the back if you want to.
Yeah, Ron Walsh does that all the time, man. He always starts in the back.
Let me rephrase my question, I guess. So when you were first coming on learning this stuff, not where you're at now, not preparing for the week with you being a 5,000 I rating, but learning the craft to get that far, how much time did you dedicate once you learned all that?
Actually, it took me 6 months. It took me 6 months of just sitting down, constantly watching, studying other drivers.
YouTube videos.
Not really YouTube videos.
But you do Twitch, don't you?
Yeah, studying, watch the Coke drivers, watch what they do. You can watch their inputs and try to mimic.
Now, who do you like to watch? I mean, so cut to the chase. Who do you like to watch?
So I like watching Casey Kerwin. Like, he's fast. That's where I've learned my road course stuff from. And then I've learned some oval stuff from him and how he drives the car. And I try to adapt that to my style. Just watching him because know how good he is.
And that's a big thing. A lot of people, they just want to buy their speed. You know what I mean? You take the time, you watch the races, you study them, that kind of stuff. And that's where a lot of people, they go wrong. They'll watch a 5-minute video and can't figure out why they're fast, But I agree, go watch their streams. And these streams are a couple hours and just sit there and listen to them and pick up on the tips.
They're on YouTube.
I'm right, Robert. Anyhow, Nathan, go ahead, but I didn't mean to get into it.
No, he basically, I mean, that's what I did. I studied for about 6 months, and then I never knew how to save tire when I first started iRacing. I could never tell you how to save tire, and I learned from one of my buddies. League racing's also another good thing to do. If you do league racing and you learn from the fast guys in that league and you run around them, the more and more you'll be able to keep up with those guys, and then you can apply that into official races. Even though I know it's not the same guys you're running around, nobody's going to give you the room like they do because you don't know them. But running leagues, like I ran a bunch of leagues when I first started, and that's why I've learned a bunch too from just those guys.
Now, did John Jenkins say that last week, Mike? Do you remember? Somebody was talking about leagues.
Yeah, I think John was talking about some leagues too.
Okay, because I know like Casey Kostowitz, he couldn't make the interview because he was going right from the strength of field.
And when you saw the end of the race in the broadcast, Trace, he parks it in turn 1, alt F4, he's gone, and he's immediately gridding for his league race. That was hilarious.
Yep. Yeah. And enter Ken Byron for the interview.
Yeah. So Nathan, let me say this, kind of where I want to wrap up. I think this segment, the podcast tonight, is that everything we're talking about right here. And here at the channel, we're friends with everybody. I mean, all the setup shop owners, we've had a lot of them on, and everybody has their positives and negatives. But when it comes to the to a couple of places that have really, as the sand starts shifting in the water, as the sand shifts down and makes the layers, I think a couple of places that have really risen up to really address what we've been talking about is they're saying, hey, yeah, we have fast setups, but there's more to it. And there's way more to the setup. It's all the driving stuff and the tips you've been given and all the stuff we've been talking about is really what it gets you there. And so because of that, it doesn't end with making a sale on a website to somebody for a setup. That is not the end of the interaction with the customer. At least it shouldn't be. And I think that the EPI has done it a different way, but Ryko has went a different way as well. But I think that those two shops have really risen to the top when it comes to offering a full experience for a customer. And Ryko's done it with their new performance manager tool, with a lot of the data and the telemetry and stuff that they get. You can compare it with their drivers. You can compare data. And for a data nerd like me and Tracy are, we like that kind of stuff. We like the data and to be able to sit around and do it ourselves. Like I can go run some laps myself without having to talk to anybody, load it up, see Cody Trendy's lap time or their builders or whatever and stuff like that. And if you're a data person, that may be your preferred way to do it. But what you guys have done has been something different. I talk about this often. It's probably not anytime I mention EPI and talk about the strength. This is the guys' main strength. Is so, where I found you today. Whenever I was looking, Derek Heidman give me your info and said, hey, check out Nathan. He could probably come on because we had a guest cancel tonight, and not that I wouldn't have had you on anyway, but I was skirting around trying to find somebody last minute. And I'd seen you in a lot of the strength of field races. And when Derek said, hey, check out Nathan, I was like, oh yeah, I know Nathan, man. He's awesome at road courses. He'd be great to have on the podcast. And I went and found you, and I found you in your guys' public customer short track Discord with 2 or 3 other guys. What were you doing in there, Nathan?
I was just hanging out with them, learning some stuff with the short tracks, because I also run the short track team with him too. I'm not just on the NASCAR team.
But it's open. I could have popped in there, right?
Yeah.
If you guys would have talked to me, and if you guys were racing a race, showing people stuff, I could have learned stuff. And dude, that is my point. Let's see. Yeah, Martin, I'm not sure what your last name is. Burke.
Let's go with Bjork.
Martin Bjork. He says data is in my head, not on the screen. Yeah, I'm with you. So if you're not the data nerd like me and Tracy, I think EPI might be a good place for somebody to land, because there you have the one-on-one interaction. I mean, you guys are always, I know you've got a team hangout, a team lounge, but it seems like team drivers are always in the public channels. And I see customers and team drivers and all kinds of people in there, and somebody's racing, sharing their, Borg. Okay. Gotcha. I see all kind of people in there with somebody sharing their screen, somebody giving them critiques. And I've hopped in from time to time just to kind of listen and hear what's going on, to kind of see what it was all about, like what you guys are doing over there. And so, that's a lot of care and attention to customers. And it seems like somebody goes and buys one of your sets, they come in and you can complete the package and complete what somebody needs by coming to y'all's Discord. It's probably one of the most active Discords with team drivers interacting with customers, and actually not just interacting like, hey man, how's it going? But actually
it's almost like having a coach in a room with
you.
It's
almost like having a coach in a room, like Robert said, and interacting with customers and trying to make them faster. It's for EPI, it seems like, and Ryko as well, it seems like the purchase of the sale on the website is not the end of the interaction with the customer, it's just the beginning.
Yeah, that's just we always welcome everybody in there with like open arms if they need help. If people needed road course help, hit me up. I mean, I can sit down with you.
You're a road course specialist there.
He's a road course ringer.
If you want to hit up oval stuff, John's pretty good dude that can do it. There's a bunch of other guys that are faster than me in the B car on oval. They can always help you. He can give you some pointers of what you could do, and all that stuff like that. I've helped out a bunch of our dev drivers this week with Be Open. that have been struggling at Watkins Glen. I sat down with them. I showed them the line I'm running, how my braking endpoints and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely when they come in and people ask for help. I mean, we're always there available for help if you need it. You know, just pop in and say what's up. We'll help you guys. We'll help you guys out.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to knock any other setup shop out there when I say that. You know, everybody's got their positives, and Maconi sells a subscription model. It's pretty competitive as far as price goes. Then Pay to Win's got their everything on their site now for $15. But it you just don't get that interaction level. If all you're wanting to set and you're wanting it for the cheapest price you can, well, okay, fine. But if you're saying, no, I want to go get a set, and then I want to talk to the guys that are running it, and I want to talk to the builders and the guys that are running it, and I want that extra help that's really going to get me and change my driving habits, going to get me to the next level. I think that's the place that you guys at EPI excel at. And so I'm just saying that to all of our viewers. You know, if you really want a recommendation here from the Alien Factory on what you're looking for, maybe not the exact place. I'm not, EPI is great. Go there if you want. I mean, I wouldn't be talking good things about it if I wouldn't recommend it. But I'm not necessarily recommending it over Ryko personally. I'm just saying I would recommend it as a place to go if that's the kind of interaction you're looking for, because you want to get your racing to the next level. And if you want a personal touch from a human being helping you, I think EPI is hands down at the top of the pack there with that stuff. So
yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, because they did the same thing to me.
Yeah, but I'm going to also say, if you're a data head and a data nerd like me and Tracy, that I think Ryko's got a good thing going on there as well with their Ryko Performance Manager. That's just awesome. If you're a data guy and you want to see the data inputs of other drivers and have it available to you anytime, 24 hours a day at 2:00 in the morning, whatever, that's a good option too. If you're a data head for that kind of stuff.
Cody,
Yeah,
friend of the show. Better late than never. Thanks, Cody.
Hey, Cody, we
Catch us
talk
for the
about you all
close.
the time. Just about any time you join, we're talking about you. Your ears are burning. But yeah, man, I tell you what, Nathan, thanks for being with us here. And as always, as far as the second segment goes with our guests, I want to give you the last word. Why don't you give a plug, and anybody you want to thank that's helped you, and give a plug here for your team. And somebody says, man, I love what you're doing. I think that your advice can help me, and they want to come check you guys out. Tell them how to, where they can go on the internet to check you guys out and how to get to you.
Yeah, I want to thank all the guys over at EPI for allowing me to, become what I am today in racing wise. It's big thanks to John. There's a guy over there. His name's Justin Laxton. He does all late model stuff. He's a pretty good guy. He's willing to help. He'll take time out of his day. Nick's a really cool dude. Once you get to know him, and he'll sit down and help you. If anybody needs help with stock cars on road courses, come over to the EPI Discord. I'll be over there. Just DM me. If I'm available, I'm available. I can help. If I'm not, I'll try to get help you whenever I get some free time. But yeah, definitely all the guys over at Elite Performance Industries, man. They've been a big help for me. They, like I said, they welcomed me in. They didn't know who I was. It was just some stranger that hopped in and like, hey, yeah, we sit down.
Yeah, but you beat the guy.
Yeah, you're the stranger that hopped in and beat the owner.
Yeah, it's been a crazy journey so far, those guys, and I hope to keep it going on for a long
time. But I bet if you wrecked the guy, you probably would never been invited in, huh?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That didn't happen. So I couldn't tell you.
Hey, listen, Robert, that's not true. Most of the people that I'm friends with in iRacing,
the
whole story started with me wrecking them.
Yeah, or stopping on a track, but
or them wrecking me, right, Trace?
Absolutely.
That dirty Tracy Rumschlag at Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, yep. You'll have to tell them the story about that one day,
Yeah, we told it once or twice before here in the podcast over the last 7 or 8 months, but yeah. So yeah, almost every friend I've gotten's come from either me wrecking them or them wrecking me. It might have still worked out good for you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Hey, before we close tonight, Nathan, thank you so much for being here for my birthday party. I appreciate it. Number one team driver, Robert Cook, always a pleasure. You know that. And Mr. Excitement, Mike Howerton, you're number one in my heart too. So thank you for being here for my birthday party. And on an editor's note too, we were trying to get Matt Holden, and I had said last week that I was going to reach out to him. He did reply. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to come onto the show with some restrictions that he has. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to talk to him. And then also, this week we have Daytona. So we have virtual Daytona coming up tomorrow for the strength of field race for those wanting to tune in for the Area 51 Alien Factory broadcast, 8 p.m. Not sure if I'm going to make it. I'm going to try, but can't promise it. Anyways.
Awesome, Trace. Appreciate it. Robert, you got any final thoughts here before we leave?
No, I think you guys pretty well answered everything, but that's it.
Well, hey, I've got some breaking news that concerning Robert, guys. We're trying to get Robert to throw a hat on and get a webcam here soon. So we might be able to push him into that. So hey,
I will have to have dark glasses and everything else because of the FBI thing.
Yeah. He was thinking about maybe some dark sunglasses, maybe some of those aviators like Biden's been wearing. Maybe getting some of those aviators and with dark lenses and a hat, and a webcam. So hey, if y'all want to see Robert Cook in some dark glasses and
let's put a poll
hat
up
there with a webcam, throw a comment down there in the comments below, and we'll see if we can work that out. But
you guys got to buy the
talking
webcam.
about that about like last week or so. Robert's talking about getting a webcam, so that's some good news here on the podcast.
It'd be a while.
Then his nephew will have to come over and hook it up for him.
Yes, that's right.
There you go. Anyway, hey, Nathan, thanks a lot, man. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Oh, you didn't tell everybody, if they're looking for EPI, where do they find you guys at?
Well, there's two ways you could do it. You could either do eliteperformanceindustries.com or raceepi.com. Either one of those will take you straight to the website.
There you go. Raceepi.com and eliteperformanceindustries.com. That'll get you there. And I'm sure you guys talk about your Discord. Y'all have a link to your Discord on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. It's on the homepage.
Awesome, man. Nathan, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight for the podcast. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And our viewers loved it. They just said they just turn the podcast on and they just listen to it when they're doing other stuff. And they love listen to our podcast because, we have a bunch of drivers on they race with. They get to see what y'all look like instead of just seeing your car on the track. And get to hear from everybody. So yeah, we really appreciate the podcast is only as good as you guys coming on and doing it with us. So we really appreciate that. And guys, that's going to be it for us here at the Alien Factory podcast for episode 17 with our special guest tonight, Nathan Nicholson from EPI. That's Elite Performance Industries. Go check them out at epiracing.com or at EPI or eliteperformanceindustries.com as well. And they got a link to the Discord there. You guys want to go find them in Discord. Guys, everybody, thank you so much for being with us and tuning in here with us at the Alien Factory podcast. We've got 40 viewers tonight, so thank you all. And I know that we get double and triple that after the fact. Everybody watches this podcast on demand. We really appreciate that. If you have not done so yet, we ask you to go down and hit that subscription button down below. We are on our way to hitting our goal of becoming a YouTube partner, and we are right on pace, so we can't fall behind. We need you guys to keep on clicking that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Also, there's a bell icon. Y'all can get notified anytime we put up new content here on the channel. Down in the description below, all kind of cool goodies down there. Just added that new link down in the description for the custom paints and Diecasts, which is on John Jenkins' car. Is one of his sponsors. A buddy of his does custom paint jobs for you in iRacing. You can purchase those from him. He'll give you a good deal. But if you ever want to get your actual iRacing simulated car turned into a real 1/24th size diecast model, he also does diecast there at Custom Paints and Diecasts. So that link has been added down to the description. That's a cool service if you guys want to get your iRacing car made into a real actual diecast model. Go check out the description down below for that, and all kind of cool goodies down there, places to get setups. Got some promo codes, free setups, all kind of cool stuff down there. Go down and check out the description always on your way out the door. Guys, that's it for all of us here at Area 51 in this Alien Factory podcast. We got myself, Mr. Excitement, Mike Howerton, the number one team driver, Mr. Robert Cook, our friend of the channel here, new friend of the channel, Nathan Nicholson from EPI, And the man himself, the Admiral, Tracy Rumschlag, has been here with us. For everybody here at Area 51, thank you for tuning in with us. And as always, we will see you in the next
one.
Next one.